Hello. Good afternoon, Dr. and Professor Supriya ma'am. This is Dr. Sunil here, Sunil Kapadia. I just forwarded you mail. Whenever you get time, you can just go through. I will send you my profile and a few more attachment. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Sir, audible, sir.
Can you hear me?
Ah,
Yes, sir.
audible,
Yes,
sir.
sir, you're audible.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, good afternoon and welcome you all to the second day program on the design thinking. We will start at the scheduled time. I would request all of you to keep the menti.com browser open. Go to your browser, open the link menti.com, and I'll be putting in a link here. Just open that and answer. Doesn't take more than 10 seconds. Please open the link. Is the link opening?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, those who have joined, please open a window in your browser, menti.com, and go to this link and just answer there. Yeah, all of you, please give your quick response to this.
Done, sir.
And yeah, thank you.
So what?
Only 13 of you have responded. There are many more. I think you are able to see the results window. Are you able to see the results?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're able to see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, just see that, and then we will start the session. We have a long list of agenda today to be covered, and therefore we have to be very, very economical in our usage of time. Wonderful. Very, very interesting responses are coming in, but a lot of you have responded saying it is innovative solutions, innovation, iterative. Great, great. So while you're all responding, let me try and recap what we have done yesterday. Would one of you like to do the honors? Can we just recap what we had done yesterday? Any one of you would like to volunteer? Yes, sir, you're not audible. I think your name is not there. CADIACT. You're trying to speak but not audible.
Yeah, you're sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
You from yeah.
Not
Sir, where
audible.
you can
Hello. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. Voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Okay, I'll stop the menti.com and we will move on with the regular session. And I will share with you the what we have got out of this word cloud. Yeah. So yesterday we had a very engrossing session by Mr. Ravikant on design thinking as a process and what we can do as education institution for our students in our institutions. He has not only given us the standard model of the design thinking, he is also from his experience given something more than what is followed by the Stanford D School. So today we are going to, and then we had Mr. Hemant, who has given us the concept of design and the need to develop design as an attitude. That is what we have covered. So we are going to deepen this today, just to put things in perspective. What is there in store for the day? By the end of today, we are going to have a clear understanding of what is design, who is a designer, what is design thinking, what is design model, and that will be interspersed with some understanding of the important factor like the empathy in that. And then we will go to the first, after completing the empathy part, we will go to define. How do you define a problem? The most important part of the entire design thinking process is identifying the right problem and defining it properly. So that we will delve in detail, and during those deliberations, Mr. Sayantan Mukherjee will also tell you how to crack the first part of the presentation, phase 1 of the assignment. How do you go about that? He will deliberate about the presentation as well. And then we have from 5 to 5:30 the art of living experts coming and telling us about the Fit India program. And 5:30 to 5:45 we have a break. After 5:45 up to 7:30 we have a very renowned professor of universal human values, who is working in the IIIT Hyderabad. He would take that session for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. That is there in store for us. So you'll have plenty of takeaways today. I have no doubt about it. So please spend your maximum attention for this program on the today's deliberations. Now we are going to talk about the design inquiry process. The objectives for this session are let's reinforce the concept of design, then understand what design thinking is. I think all of us, now when I asked you to put in your ideas on design thinking, each one of you have given a different answer in terms of what you understand by design thinking. So we have taken your input now, and at the end of this program, we will see whether this is the same or would it differ. Then what is design inquiry process, and what are the what is the classical design thinking model which we are all talking about. So after this session is over, or towards the end of the day today, I'm sure you should all be able to tell what design is. I think a lot of questions were raised yesterday. We are not clear, this concept is vague and all that. I think that will get cleared today, and you should be able to articulate what design thinking is and explain what is the design inquiry process, and finally understand what this design thinking model is, maybe with an illustration. So if you're able to reach these 4 goals today, I think that it is a job well done. Here is a quote by Edward D. Bono, and I quote, "To regard thinking as a skill rather than as gift is the first step towards doing something to improve that skill." I think all of us first need to understand that thinking can be developed, and it is not something that is given to us by God at the time of your birth. It can be improved upon, provided you are willing to develop that skill. Now, next 3-4 slides, I'll just show you some visuals. Just look at them, and I'll have a question at the end of those 3-4 slides. So here are 3 sets of chairs. Then we have some cars here. Have a close observation of that. Then buildings look very great. And these are assortment of items. We have some cutlery, some wash basin, a phone, and iPhone models here, all that. Then there are some handicrafts. I'm sure all of us are familiar with them. So what comes to your mind when you look at them? Can I invite some views from you? What comes to your mind from what you have seen just now?
Something innovative.
Utility and
Creative. Aesthetics.
Variety.
Aesthetics.
Good design.
Aesthetics, okay.
Design.
utility,
Unique,
Design,
unique.
comfort,
visually unique, yeah.
Different from the
utility,
usual models. Sir.
Useful
Eco-friendly.
models,
So different from the
Eco-friendly.
usual model, sir.
okay.
Eye appealing.
Attractive to user, okay.
User friendly.
Okay, wonderful. Utility, new design, ethnic, enjoyment in doing. Wonderful. Except one person, nobody else has used the word design in that. All of you have said a lot of things about how nice they are looking. Aesthetics part is more, highlighted than the design elements. Now let's understand what design is. Design is not something which is defined by only one person in one way. Different people, because design comes from different dimensions. Every discipline has used design in some way or the other. So there are multiple definitions, but I think we will take some of them to deepen your understanding of what design is. And as we all know, design actually is more used in the context of arts rather than science. So design is to plan, to order, to relocate, and to control. I think whatever we have seen, a lot of that is to plan, to order, to relate, and to control. Everything is applicable there. But more important to me are the next 2 definitions, which is given by Herbert Simon. He says to design is to devise course of action aimed at changing existing situation to preferred ones. This is important because design talks about you have a given situation and you have a desired situation because you're not satisfied with what you are having now. And then you are looking at how do you reach there. In the process, you make the changes to the design that is existing. And therefore, there is a design is a continuous process. It is not that you just make one design and leave it at that. Design is a process that is continuous. And design is something which has much more than just a visual appeal. And what that is, we will talk about it. And I do not know how many of you are aware of the contributions made by Herbert Simon. Is anyone aware of the contributions by him? If you have any idea.
But Simon, Nobel Prize winner, he's the first one who used this design concept.
Wonderful, wonderful, great. Yeah. So
he wrote a book called Science of Artifact.
Right. Wonderful. Great. Yes. Yeah. What else? He has also used the word satisficing. He is the one first who said satisficing. Can somebody tell me what is satisficing? There are a lot of HR, professors here. Yeah, satisficing. Yes.
Yeah, it is sufficing and satisfaction. When Herbert Simon is a well-known thinker of this decision-making theory. He's a decision-making theorist. So
great. Yeah.
And he said that satisficing, when an administrator, we think that administration will take a decision which would be the best one. But due to some reason, personal factors, many other issues, the administrator is not supposed to take a best decision. In that case, he takes the satisficing decision, that is sufficing plus satisfaction, and it leads to satisficing decision.
Right. Thank you. That's a great way of expressing what is satisficing. I think design has its roots in that particular concept of satisficing, and it has come from Herbert Simon, and we will look at how it is applied as we go along. Then we have another nice, very good definition by Professor Heskett from the Harvard Business School, Harvard University. He stated, design is to design the design of a design. Design is to design the design of a design. It looks very interesting to see the statement, but then let's understand what it really means. Design is a concept by itself, and yesterday we discussed about it, and we are now trying to elaborate and deepen the understanding of that. What do you design? Design anything that is related to an activity. For what purpose? Because you have a plan and intention of reaching somewhere. You have some product or a service in your mind, and therefore you are you're working backwards. If you see, you have an end product in mind or an end service in mind, then you want to convert it into a plan of making into how you design that. Then you conduct the activities related to that, and that very process itself is design, right? So from these three definitions, I think you should be able to get a fairly clear idea about what we are talking, and then I'll now dive you more into a more specific, a broader definition of design. Design is the process of envisioning and planning the creation of objects, interactive systems, processes, and products. It is not just one. It is not some building, some artifact. It's much more than that. It is user-centric. And it is about creating solutions for the people who are the end users of it. Physical items are more abstract systems to address need or a problem. So design per se can be used anywhere. It is not just in the realm of arts. So design is a creative process. Obviously, it is not same for everyone. It depends on your background, your how you're connected to thinking, how empathetic you are, and it changes from person to person. It integrates physical qualities of a product with the aesthetic considerations. Mere aesthetics is not enough. It is the functionality with the aesthetics. It is the user centricity with the aesthetics that is important. And design is both a result of end product and the process. It just doesn't happen. You need to have a lot of scaffolding around it in terms of creating the right processes. Design as a process deals with the uniting such factors as technology. This is what is important. I think we're going to, in the next 2 slides, I'm going to talk more about it. We are going to integrate technology, marketing, sales, recycling, the whole lot of things, because we are talking of design thinking from the business perspective more in the workshop here now, rather than generally design for life. There may be a more philosophical way of understanding design thinking from the life perspective, but what we are now doing is from the business perspective. So what is design? Design is planned and innovative use of available knowledge to form processes, environment, products, and services with the point of departure in users' needs. Now you need to understand, start again from the backward, start with the ends in mind, what the user needs and how do you reach there. That is the way that we are developing a systematic thinking to designing. Now, design basically includes thinking and planning. Now, that is a very, very profound statement. Design just doesn't happen because you change a few lines here or a few curves there. It requires a very, very important systematic thinking and planning in order to give a shape to what you want to finally bring out as a product or a service. Now, how do you go into this designing? I mean, why people, in fact, this is the classic example of what people talk about when you talk of IDEO. IDEO is the first company to give a shape to mouse, and everybody talks about this as an example. So obviously, when Steve Jobs wanted Kelly to prepare something for the machine that we're all using, they never had any idea, but then they have no product to display. They have no product to imitate, but they had an idea in the mind. So that is where they were. Then somebody describes it. They talk about the functionality, the need for it, and then somebody has visualized it. And after visualizing it, they made some prototypes. And finally, looking at various requirements in its function, the cost, the contribution, the value that is given to the user, they finally come out with a product called mouse. And after that, of course, there are so many other changes that have happened over a period of time. But the basic product has come out because there was a need felt, a need expressed, and that is need conceived. And then somebody has visualized it. Several drawings must have been drawn and shown. Several prototypes were made. Several ways people try to explain how it is going to be useful. Several iterations were done. Finally, a new design came in the form of a mouse. Now, that is what we are trying to understand from the design inquiry. So, does it make sense so far what we have done? Do you think that you have got a better understanding of design now?
Yes, sir, it's much clearer.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, thank you. And let's move on. So, who are the people who are interested in this design? Now, yesterday there was a discussion between who is a designer and is everyone a designer, and should every design thinker a designer? Kind of things have been discussed yesterday. So let's understand who is interested, who are the stakeholders in design inquiry. The designer himself, whoever is trying to do the design, he needs to understand the product that he is visualizing, and that visualization comes to it because somebody tells me, this is what I want, this is the functionality of it, this is the cost I'm ready to pay for it, therefore you have to design something around that. Then there are some people who are users of the design, the people who are the general public, the design promoters, design appliers, international audience, design community, and design educators, people like you and me who are in the business of educating large number of students to propagate that thinking in terms of conceiving a product and giving it to a shape. So there are so many people who are interested in this design inquiry process, and all of us are. Therefore, what I'm trying to tell you here is the point of driven is design inquiry is not for the engineering faculty or engineering students or engineers. It is not for architects alone. It can be around any other issue that is related to where you want to find a solution. It can be in any part of the arts. Don't think that design thinking is or designing is only for a specific set of niche set of people. It is for everyone. Now, who is a designer then? Now, we said designer is obviously interested in designing, and therefore who is a designer? A designer is the one who has actually the humanistic approach or a user-centric approach. I'm using the word user-centric because you cannot create a very, very expensive item by creating a super design and say that it is I am a great designer but not accessible to anyone. We will see what that means is in terms of an example a little later. So he is a person who has got some amount of humanistic approach to meeting between the product and the man. Now, I am a bridge as a product. There is a product that I want to give it to the public, to the users, and I am here between the product and the user so that I am a bridge between this, facilitate this. Now, as a designer, what are the things that I need to look at? What are those things that I have to focus on? The functionality, aesthetics, the long range identity. Am I creating some kind of a value proposition in the product which will have a longer positioning in the mind of the consumers, and the politics and the culture of the society in which we are doing, whether what I am doing is ethically right. Is it meeting the ethical considerations of society in which I am operating? Now, if you look at all this, when we talk about this, probably one factor which is the designer of nano car would not have probably looked at. Do you think is there anything that will strike you that okay, look, these guys have done everything good, but one factor maybe they have not done well. Which factor could that be?
Empathy.
The culture.
Okay.
The culture.
Empathy. They didn't understand Indian human being. I mean, Indian society. Car is a status, not as a need. So they didn't empathize properly. It is my understanding.
Okay.
In Indian culture, this is seen as a social status, and if you market it as the cheapest product in the country, then it is associated with a social status. So people rejected it. So it is understanding Indian culture actually.
Okay. I think we'll use this input later. Yes, Mr. Pankaj Chauhan.
I think, sir, psychological construct is also important in design part. So I hope in case of nano, it was somewhere missing. The understanding of psychological aspect.
Absolutely. Yesterday, somebody asked what is the difference between design thinking and innovation. Now, I think it was probably a part of innovation. They focus more on engineering, more on science, and they have not taken the other considerations that go in the mind of the customer. And when we are discussing in the later part of the today's session, you will be able to appreciate that. Right. Thank you. That's wonderful contribution from all of you. Now let's understand. This design inquiry is nothing new. I think it is a natural thing. Human beings have progressed so much, and civilization evolved so much, not because the design thinking is the driver of all this, but inquiry has been a natural human instinct. If you see something different, you want to do something different, you always go into the details of it. So what is a typical design inquiry cycle? Let's look at that. Now, first of all, when there is an awareness of a problem or an issue, you would like to get into the details of it. Now, science has given us different tools, different methods of inquiring into the problem. So we are not going to get into all those post-industrialization, what all the tools that have come in. We are not going to get into all that, but it suffices for us to understand and appreciate the design thinking concept, because we know when we are aware of a problem or when you are not satisfied with what you are right now in the current situation and you want to reach somewhere else, you need to go into the inquiry process. And once you go into that, you need to probably go into the understand the problem more in detail. You need to research. And once you research, perhaps you look at the ideation part. How do I solve? What are the different ways? Now, here is this typical scientific process to design thinking. There is a difference here. What the difference is, in the ideation part, the typical problem solving approach where most of the problem solvers have been involved in industry, they consider that to be more of a linear process and a scientific process, and therefore they don't look at various other options. It is considered to be more of what their community is aware of, and then they make a prototype, and then they test and revise prototype, and finally launch it in the new market. Well, I think in the awareness part, probably the Tata Nano car, when they designed it, all that they thought is, there were articles and news items and all that talking about, if, for example, a cigarette company, if it wants to increase its business beyond a particular point, because the markets are saturated in urban areas, at one point in time, they said the right way to expand our market is to convert the BD smoker into cigarette smoking, because they thought that BD is considered to be low in the societal perception. If I can give a cigarette to them, they think that their self-esteem will go up, and therefore the cigarette industry worked on researching how can I produce a cheaper quality cigarette vis-a-vis what is considered to be a middle class or the upper middle class brand, and they have positioned a cigarette which was trying to wean away the BD smoker to a cigarette smoker. That's the typical scientific, analytical approach. Absolutely nothing wrong with that from the business perspective. Similarly, the people who were associated with nano as a concept thought that there are several people who were going on the two-wheelers, using the two-wheelers, and they have the aspiration of owning a four-wheeler. How can I create a product more or less at the cost of a two-wheeler? I think that was the problem statement. The way they have defined the problem statement was, can I produce a four-wheeler at more or less the same cost as that of a two-wheeler, or maybe at a marginal cost? They did all that. I'm sure they have done some prototyping, and finally they have launched it, and at the end of it, we all know what happened. The production of the car itself has stopped. So something went wrong in this. Can you now again come back to my previous question? You said they have not been empathetic, they have not understood the customer part. Can we expand that discussion a little more and understand what went wrong in the typical design cycle? And then we will see next how the perspective would have changed in the design thinking perspective. What else could have been done by the manufacturers or the creators of nano than what has been done? Yes?
Sir, it is floated in a cheap car. That is the psychologically affected, sir. That everyone, everyone use that is a cheap car like that.
Okay, now if you have to do it again, that project, how would it be different? Yes. How would that be different? My question is, if we have to think of producing a car like that, from our approach, what would be different?
Sir, I would design something like Volkswagen Beetle, which is very expensive, but it is a small car also. Similarly, I would change the marketing strategy for nano, and I would put up more quality equipments inside, but it will also serve the purpose of two people's transportation, but as well as I will market it as a very prime product.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Srinivas. Yes, Mr. Prakash Rao, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. My gut feel is nothing but the design itself, I think, not met the expectations of the customer, sir. Actually, the motor, the engine was kept in the backside of the auto. That's why it looks like a appearance like a auto. That's why I think people will not interested in that. My understanding.
Okay, wonderful,
Sir,
wonderful. Yeah.
Sir, what I get to
according to
understand
according to me,
Yes, Mr. Shi. Yeah.
according to me, the design, it is not, when you look at all other cars are looking one way, and this cars is looking another. It is not giving a feeling that we are owning a car.
Okay, you are talking about the aesthetic part of it, the appearance part of it. Yeah. And Mr. Prakash Rao said that people have considered that to be a sort of a upgraded auto kind of a thing. And Mr. Srinivasa, you want to say something?
Sir, what I get to understand is from some news reports is that, the positioning actually went wrong, wherein, it was positioned always as a 1 lakh rupee car. And eventually it was felt that, that amount is making a car and making it available at that amount subsequently became a challenge for the company.
Okay.
Sir, can I say something?
Sir.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Sunil Kapadia.
Yeah,
you want
basically, it looks like they did not factor into long range of propositions. They just wanted to come out with kind of solution, but they did not, went beyond it, how far, this model or this kind of proposition will sustain. So long range planning into design concept, I think it seems to be missing.
Okay.
May I speak?
Yes, Miss. Professor Shahima Hamid.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think the problem with Nano was, first of all, if you're looking at it in the design perspective, the problem statement itself could have been reworked. Instead of trying to project a car that should be pushed out into the market for a middle class customer at 1 lakh, rather than that, they could have done it in a better manner, done a little more research before actually positioning the product into the market. So I think that
Okay,
all that we have spoken about the aesthetics and the positioning, all those could have been maybe a better position could have come about if a little more research would have gone into, the market research could have been conducted a little better.
Okay, Mr. Prabhat.
Yeah, sir. What I feel is that the users of a nano car has not experienced well. I mean, they haven't got better social appreciation or acceptance with that car. So I think it was all about the experience which they actually wanted to have by having a car, but they actually didn't have. So this somehow, caused failure of this car.
Okay. Now there are some other perspectives that nano failed in crash engine management, and people think in such a way that investing in black is worse than investing in safety perspective. So that is one dimension. Safety was also a question, but I think typically what you all said is the classical managerial approach. It is not a design thinking approach. What they have done is the classical managerial approach. You just go to the segmentation, the marketing segmentation, and they thought that in this entire segmentation there is a price range, there is no product in this price range, and therefore let me put some product in that and it will click. And what was that product? Above the price of a two-wheeler and below the price of the existing lowest four-wheeler, which may be around at that time around 2.5-3 lakh rupees. So between 70,000 to about 2.5 lakh rupees, they looked at the price and they said the problem statement, I think as Shahima said, the problem statement was written as, for engineers, can you make a car in this price range? And they worked all around that, forgetting the most important factor, the customer. That is the trap in the traditional conventional design inquiry cycle. And there could be many examples where people have invested in some product and then finally the product did not work. When you do the design thinking part, probably you are going to ensure that a large amount of what we have just now discussed can be avoided before it becomes a fiasco. You end up saving time, saving money. That is why yesterday Mr. Hemant said, design thinking is not actually expensive. It may appear expensive, but design thinking saves you a lot of money. So now let us understand to deepen our thinking on design thinking. And at the end of this session, at the end of this program, most of you would probably restate what you have said just now. Most of you have given the answers from pure managerial perspective. I think your perspective would undergo some change after completing the discussion in this session. Now let's understand what design thinking will do to all of us. It is a non-linear, iterative process that teams use to understand users. We do not know, there is not enough evidence in the literature what actually the Tatas have done to understand what the customers want. When a customer from a two-wheeler wants to migrate to a four-wheeler, what is that he is trying to look at? Whether they have understood the perspective of the user, not the customer, the user. The customer is different from the user. If you talk about the segmentation, maybe you can talk more about the customer, but here you're talking about the user. As a family member, as a family head with one or two kids, am I willing to take this kind of a car? Does it satisfy my family, my kids? Have they taken that perspective? We do not know. So understand the users, challenge the assumptions. I think the assumption they had probably was also wrong, that if something is available at 1 lakh rupees, people will just go and run in front of the showrooms and buy it. I think that assumption itself was probably to be questioned, and redefine problems and create innovative solutions to prototype and test. So there are two things which are emerging. One is what is the user perspective and what are the assumptions that you're making. And from these two, if these two are clear, then your problem statement will be very, very appropriate and apt, and then the rest of the process becomes much, much easier. I think Mr. Sayantan is going to spend a lot of time on how to actually state your problem. Therefore, design thinking essentially tells us that don't look at pure customer segmentation. Don't look at targeting just because you are able to create a product. First, start with empathize with the user. What is that he is looking for? Then write your problem statement appropriately, and then ideate how can I meet this particular requirement. Then prepare the prototypes, and it is an iterative process, and then finally you test. So most useful to tackle problems that are ill-defined or unknown. I think probably the team which was at Tata were at that time overwhelmed by pleasing the idea of pleasing the top brass, the Tata and maybe the top brass, the Tata group, rather than looking at the user perspective. Because initially it has created so much of enthusiasm in the market, so much of hype in the market, all that has faded over a period of time. And maybe on a hindsight, when you look at the entire fiasco of Tata Nano, perhaps applying design thinking would have given them a much better end product and a much more successful product in the market. Now let us look at what is the timeline of design thinking. I think this is where I want to spend about maybe 5 minutes, or if required, a little more as well. Design thinking, as all of us know, is attributed to IDEO and Stanford D School. But design thinking is not just created by the IDEO group, David Kelly and his partner, or the Stanford alone. It has evolved over a period of almost half a century, because the roots go into the 1937, which Mr. Hemant talked about yesterday, when the book on Vision in Motion was published. And the design was considered to be, or propagated to be, as an attitude, not just the domain of some architects or some engineers or some artists. Design is a thinking, a mindset, and that has started in 1937. Until about 1969, not much is available in terms of evidence. When the first book on this was published by Herbert Simon on the science of artificial, where he said design actually is a kind of a thinking which is not, again, the domain of anybody. It can be used by everyone, and particularly in decision making. Particularly when he was talking about decision making. Incidentally, Edward Simon is a known economist, but he's also a psychologist, and that has come from him. And he is the one who has given us the concept of bounded rationality, which we all teach in our management subjects. Then till 1973, again, nothing much great happened when the first book again on the experience in visual thinking was published by Robert McKim. And more important was the publication by Rittel and Weber on the dilemmas in general theory of planning. The general theory of planning is, why is that design thinking we only give examples of Apples and Microsofts and Pepsi and Cokes and all these, Googles. Where are the problems, solutions for various societal problems that we are talking about? Therefore, Rittel and Weber were the first people to talk about wicked problems. And they thought that for wicked problems, the best way of dealing with them is going for the solutions through design thinking. Because design thinking can handle or address problems which are not obvious, problems which are very, very complex, problems for which the solutions cannot be just given by the scientific way of doing things. If that was the case, why, after so many years of industrialization, so many decades of industrialization, still poverty is there, still hunger is there, still education is a problem, still healthcare is a problem? So there are areas where the solutions are not easy to find, and Rittel and Weber have rightly said the best way to address those kinds of areas are the design thinking, where the solutions are not linear. It is multifunctional, multidisciplinary, and therefore experts from various fields have to come together. And it was very, very aptly well received at that time. Then in 1982, Nigel Cross has published again a seminal work on designerly ways of knowing. And again, it is a sort of a reinforcement of what the previous authors have mentioned about the way people have to think and perceive the problems and get the solutions. And yesterday's deliberations, Mr. Ravikant has also talked to us about the Peter Rube's book on the design thinking, and that's an evolution of the concept which started in 1937. People have started up to 1987. And in between, somewhere in 1981, the IDEO has conceptualized, and they have, I think what they have done is they were able to put all these things together between 1937 to 1987, put a process together, use it for developing the products, demonstrate to the market that there is success in that. And what is that they have done in IDEO is, if you have to design a product like this, who would you employ? Who should be the people who will be interested or employed in designing a product like this? A mouse has to be designed by whom? A software engineer, a hardware engineer, a mechanical engineer? Who should be the people involved in this? Yes? Can somebody give some ideas? If you were given the task of coming up with a mouse like this, which was non-existent, what kind of people would be involved in that?
Sir, I would involve a child.
Okay.
Because children naturally goes in ergonomical way, and they don't have a complex mind like us.
Okay. Okay. And what is that you're trying to say, Deepa?
Sir, it is like I would be involving both the engineers and the innovative thinkers, or probably even, they get the viewpoints of how a design could probably work, like some visual, I don't know how to express it, but then people like drawing or any, creative thinkers, how it probably could evolve into a product which could be used by many, which what are the expectations, understanding. So every particular, probably if it is to define from business, it could be like from the sales or the marketing, from a retail support or from a customer, an engineer per se. So people from all walks of the business.
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I would
Yes.
have
Yes.
thought about the people who are using the mouse on left hand users.
Mhm.
So generally, we will be using the mouse mostly on the right hand side. If the people are there, are maybe some
No,
people who are left
but
hand
then
users.
way back, ma'am, the mouse was not there. It was a non-existing product.
Ah,
Nobody knew what a mouse was. All that they knew is that there has to be a device, some instrument which can be connected, which can be moved around to move the cursor.
Hello.
And just because it has some shape like this, they call it a mouse. The idea of mouse was new at that time. That was not even known. So who would be the people who should be involved in that?
Sir, I would like to have a kind of brainstorming session wherein users they are also included. Besides the creative thinking team, management team, and even the supply chain team also would be invited.
So
Because to
like
get the perspective, we need to have brainstorming among the different stakeholders who would look at things in a different way.
Okay. Okay. So Dr. Kavita, anything you want to say?
Sir,
Yeah, you're not audible. Yeah, there are some other perspectives here in the chat box. I would involve a psychologist plus an engineer, a marketer, people who use computers on regular basis. I would also want to talk to senior citizen customers, would speak to specific groups, would involve kids and art studying people who can understand the functionality, people who use all that, for commerce. Wonderful. I think the beauty about IDEO is IDEO
Sir?
uses, yes.
I would say, sir, if I understood your question possibly in a right manner, that you talk about the dilemma that a innovator has got, that what would be the shape of this innovation so that it can be properly marketed.
Absolutely.
I feel that the dilemma will not be solved until and unless the creator itself give a shape to it and then test it.
Okay. Okay. There are two perspectives here. One perspective is if nothing is existing, you are creating the first time. Now, how do you create that? Who will be the creator? No, you can only explain this is what I want, but I'm very vague about it. That is one perspective. The other one is there is something existing. I have maybe a pen like this already existing here. I want to improve its aesthetics, functionality, price. I don't know what all you want to improve. So improve something else. Now, what has been a unique contribution of IDEO's thinking is they always thought that people from unrelated areas can contribute better ideas. That is why they have brought in anthropologists, psychologists, sociologists, all kinds of social science people. And that is where, in yesterday's presentation of Mr. Ravikant, the left brain and the right brain part has come. As long as you are thinking only from the engineering and the science perspective, your approach is different. That is where I wouldn't say limited. You're trained to be like that. Well, that is what Brian Lawson has done in 1980. He has wanted to understand how people solve the problem. People who have been trained in science and people who have been trained in design, and most of the people who have been trained in science could not solve the problem because they were bounded by certain thinking, and whereas people who were trying to solve the problem from the design part, they had not assumed any bounds, and therefore they were able to find some different ways of cracking the problem. And hence, design thinking is a collaborative, constructive effort by a diverse set of people. You just can't have a very, very homogeneous kind of a setup of people. That is one point I would like to bring to you at this point in time. Then, of course, Richard Buchanan, wicked problems in design thinking is an expansion of what Rittel and Weber have talked about it. And finally, in 2005, it has come into the realm of the business education, business schools, when Stanford D School started offering a very, very prestigious program in design thinking. I think if you're able to understand this timeline and how it happened, it is not, something that has happened or it is outdated. Some people have the idea that, oh, it is a old concept, what is new in that? In fact, it is not. It has now started only in the 1990s. It has come into the academic curriculum only in the 2000s, early 2000s. Now it is catching up across the world, and most of the business schools are offering this higher education in design thinking. And for India, it is absolutely a green field. And so those who are really getting trained in this and who want to offer this course, you will have good opportunities to offer this course in your respective organizations and train your people in that. And hopefully, India requires a lot more design thinkers to solve plenty of our problems. So I'll leave that there. I think we have spent about 10 minutes on that. Now let's quickly catch up on the design thinking model. I think this is the model that we are all talking about, and typically everywhere it is being talked about, except that some people have added something in the beginning, some people have added something later, but the classical model remains to be this. You start with empathy, then define the problem, ideate, prototype, and test. If you ask me, I think defining the problem, ideating, prototyping, and testing, everybody has done. And I'll give you an example today, which is far different from what maybe we all discuss in most of the seminars. Now, let's first understand what do we really mean by empathizing. Can somebody tell me what is empathizing from the user's perspective?
Understanding what people think about a problem, or what is their exact need.
How do we understand, sir?
So putting ourselves in the problem.
We have to talk to them. We'll have to understand what exactly their problem is. For example, in yesterday's class, Good Kitchen example was shared. Like to understand their need,
right?
That team had interviewed them. They have observed them, like what their real problems are. Exactly speaking, stated and unstated problems should be identified.
Absolutely. I think stated and unstated, underlying, which the user himself may not be aware. The user himself is not aware, but as a researcher, as a design thinker, it is our responsibility to understand that from the user's perspective by doing the research. I think that's very, very critical to this. Now, the empathizing part is very important. I'll come back to this slide once again. You can do it through interviews. You can do it through shadowing. Shadowing is, again, ethnographic research methodology where you stay with the user, understand how he is using by your observation, and then you draw your conclusions. Then you put yourself, that there are people who actually live the users to understand how users actually feel, living the experience of the users, and you need to be non-judgmental in that. Now, just I'll go back to that slide, but let's understand in the empathy what is very important to get the user perspective or the user experience is drawing the empathy map. Drawing the empathy map is very, very important because what a user says, what he thinks, what he does, and what he feels can be very, very different from each other. If I am buying a pen, why I buy a pen for me is different from somebody else. We are not just buying things for the functionality. If that is the case, there is no need to have so many products, so many brands, so many variants. Even if you want to buy a soap, a toilet soap today, you will have 100 different varieties, 100 different brands, because each has an appeal to different set of customers or the different set of users. So therefore, if you want to start a solution, what is design thinking after all? Design thinking is just finding the right problem or writing the problem right and then finding a solution. It is no different from any other problem solving methods. If you know the problem, you give a solution. What is different in design thinking, which you have been asking yesterday throughout, is in design thinking, you will decipher what the user's needs are from their perspective much better than the other processes that have been defined previously, because they were all from the industrialized world. In the post-industrial revolution, they were all based on engineering and marketing focus, whereas design thinking is more from the user perspective. You do a lot of study from there, therefore it is much more appropriate for finding lasting solutions. So what is an empathy map? It is a collaborative visualization. This is what I think. You need to create a persona after this. When you go to the definition stage, problem definition stage, you will have some persona defined. What the persona is looking at, what is this user wanting. You articulate that so that you are able to address the needs of the users better than any other process that we have had previously. Those processes were appropriate and useful in certain circumstances, but I think today we have progressed so much that there is a better way, a better process, a better model that is available to us, and hence putting it to use is going to be beneficial to the organizations, is what all this workshop about.
Sir,
so it is. Yes.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Sorry to intervene in between, sir, because you are in a flow, and I think this is the time where I raise my question.
No problem.
So point is, sir, whenever I also attended some of the other workshops, and whenever people discuss empathy, they tend to discuss in terms of the user and buyer perspective only, wherein the entire ecosystem of business, including the user and buyer, exists in a nature. So why this empathy does not include the environment concern? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we are doing so many harm to the environment. So does it? Isn't it that we should include nature into the empathy also?
Absolutely, definitely. But at the beginning, I put made a statement, because we are talking about business and we are delivering this entire thing from the perspective of how do we create better products and services. We are focusing more in our discussion on that. But certainly, businesses have to be sustainable, and one of those things, why we are talking about ethics and the relationship between design thinking and ethics is you cannot do any harm to what your natural environments are. Obviously, it is integrated, and I think a lot. Yesterday, Mr. Hemant talked about it, and today also we're going to talk about it. You cannot do anything that creates a disharmony in the environment in which you are living, and if you do that, that is not going to be sustainable, and therefore sustainability is a part of our design thinking process itself.
So, sir, why we have not developed any tool like this empathy map? Why we are not having any kind of that particular tool wherein we actually addressing the nature's requirement?
Okay, I'll come to that maybe in the next slide or so, but let me say most of these models are all Western models, and therefore the perspectives that we are talking about, the Oriental mindset, are not integrated. Not only in this, if you really look at it, I think this is a typical Western way of looking at it. That is why when we look at it from the Indian perspective or from our culture, it requires certain amount of modification. Absolutely, I agree with you, and I am going to talk about a couple of perspectives on that in the next 1 or 2 slides.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So, since we are going on talking about a certain model created by IDEO and the Stanford D School, we are focusing on that. But I'll give you an example. Maybe we just have another 15 minutes. I'll give you an example where you will also find and appreciate that yes, the Indian perspective is also important, and the reason why this dimension has not come into the literature is because we Indians are very, very poor at publishing and taking our native concepts to the world. The way the Westerners they publish, I don't think we are doing it, and therefore, although we have so much of innovation in our own culture, in our own society, we don't take it to the larger world and make it demonstrate that they have something to take from us. Okay, so I think we have now understood. I think if you want to do an exercise on empathy map, it is going to take time. Right now, it suffices for us to know that there is something called empathy map, and in empathy map, we look at what the user says when somebody goes to, why. Just since Mr. Pankaj Chauhan has talked about, we are putting in lakhs of crores. If you take all the states together in the welfare schemes, we are giving free houses, free ration, free this, free that, all that. There are the users, end users of all that. Do we understand why we are doing and how it is being perceived at the other end? We don't have an understanding. It is all taken from a perspective of politics, but how is it going to do any good or harm? Do you have any understanding of it? We really do not have. So what the people say, the beneficiaries of this, what they are thinking, what they are doing with the benefits that they are receiving, and what they are feeling, do we have any understanding of it? At least I am not aware of any such literature or any research being done. Some of you are from social sciences, and here is a fertile ground for you to do some greenfield research of applying design thinking into some of these concepts that are happening, some of the programs that are taking place in healthcare, poverty alleviation, social security, whatever we are doing, they're all doing. Most of what is being done is driven by the economists. What is good from the economist perspective is generally being considered, but then this is time to go beyond the economics, beyond the management, and think more from the design perspective is what we are going to conclude in the next 3 days. And to that extent, I think Mr. Pankaj Chauhan, your question will be addressed little later. Okay, now the second part of it is defining. Defining means you have to create a persona. A persona is an imaginary character from empathy you create a persona to understand what the user really wants, and then define a problem from the perspective of that user. Then you have to define what are the role objectives, decisions, challenges, and what are the pain points. It is not necessary that every pain point will be addressed in every design solution. You will probably address as many as possible. The next one is ideation. I think from defined point of view, thereafter, Mr. Sayantan is going to go into the depth of it. Therefore, I am not spending much time on that. Then ideation is share your ideas. Now, with whom do you share the ideas? It should be a multidisciplinary people from both the left brain and the right brain. People who are artistic and people who are scientific. Both. All ideas to be considered to be worthy. Don't check out any ideas before they are validated and they have been properly assessed. You must first go for the divergence and then convergence. That is why we have the model of double diamond model, which we'll be talking about tomorrow, and then yes and thinking and prioritizing what those ideas are. Then you go to the prototyping, and of course in prototyping you have got the rapid prototyping and all mock-ups, storyboards. Keep it simple, fail fast, iterate quickly, all that. Yesterday somebody was asking how fast can you do, so can you get solutions in design thinking. The question is how fast how much can you get engaged. There is no standard answer in terms of a cycle time for design thinking solutions. It depends on several factors, and if you are able to deploy more resources, maybe you get the solutions faster. Then testing, understand the impediments in terms of how you produce, how the logistics, all that, and what works. And you have to probably do some, field testing, role plays, and all that. And as quickly as possible, if you're able to finally arrive at a solution that it is going to solve your problems. I think quickly I'll give you an example here, which I think partly addresses what Mr. Pankaj Chauhan said. Though we have not seen this or analyzed it, there's no literature from in the published world on applying the design thinking to the Amul model of doing business. All of us know Amul is a great product. All of us know Amul is a great brand. But if you go back to the evolution of the problem at that time, I think what Dr. Kurian and the team associated with him at that point in time have done is phenomenal. It really fits into this entire model. What is the problem with that then? The problem at that time was there was Paulson's Dairy, a private dairy, which was exploiting the milk producers of Anand and the surrounding areas, the Nadiad district of Gujarat. And Dr. Korean has confronted this problem, and he has defined his problem statement as how do I provide remunerative prices to the producers. And the second part was at that point in time, the consumption of milk per head in India was abysmally low compared to the rest of the world. So we were consuming the per capita consumption of milk was half of the world's consumption of milk at that time, and therefore his second problem statement is how do I provide milk at an affordable cost to the consumer. So on the one hand, he has a statement for the producers, on the other hand, he has a statement for the consumers, and he wanted to make sure that he's able to satisfy both the sides. Now, where is the empathy part? I think he has looked at several dimensions, though he has not put this whole thing into design thinking model. He and his team have looked at who are the milk producers there in Gujarat at that time, and even now most of them are household. It is a household, small scale enterprise kind of a work, really taken care of by the women. It is a sustainable business. It helps the society. All those factors have been taken in this, and he looked at how do I create a solution to this, and a solution which is lasting. And therefore they came up, at that time, the only way to do it is first is collection of milk from the villages, bringing them to a central place, and then converting that into milk products. At that time, milk product mainly meant only conversion of liquid milk into a powdered milk. The biggest challenge at that time was that powdered milk cannot be made, was not made anywhere else in the world from buffalo's milk. The Western world only knew how to convert the cow milk into powder. Buffalo's milk was not converted anywhere into powder. I think that is where the ideating, prototyping, and all that has happened. They have created, Dr. Korean and team created a technology for the first time in the world where they were able to stun the Western industry by converting buffalo milk into milk powder. And the rest all was history. Then they went on working in terms of logistics, creating how to transport milk from villages, collect it. And the beautiful model here is they have created an ecosystem where you supply milk in the morning to a society in the village. By evening, you get your money on a fair price basis, on an assessment of what your quality of milk is. And you supply milk in the evening, you get the money in the morning. So there were a lot of things that have been done. And unfortunately, had it been some Western society, perhaps there would have been lots of articles written, published books on how design thinking had been applied there. But in India, we don't have. So they have done ideation in terms of logistics, in terms of technology, in terms of reaching out to the customers, creating new products which are useful and affordable. All that what Mr. Pankaj Chauhan has been saying, just now said, I think have been integrated into that. Because of paucity of time, I can't take more on that. Here is, since most of us are all from the educational institutions, how design thinking can be useful to us in our own institutions is very important. I think the crux of it is, I'll put them into some 10 points here. One is first, most of the time we tell the student and they mug up and they reproduce it. Instead of that, can we make them to think? Can we make them to look at alternatives? While doing so, in the problem-solving environment, can we have the mindset of tolerating the mistakes and encouraging them to do the iterations? If they do something wrong, let us give them the chance to iterate. Then let's have the humility and empathy for them, and let us create curiosity for the students. On curiosity alone, we can talk for about a full session. But I think it's important to say, to make you all appreciate that creating curiosity is the most important thing. Then working collaboratively. I think it has to come from the very, very beginning of the childhood, actually. People have to, instead of people working in isolation, we must put together diverse thinkers in the student population to ideate and come with solutions. Then they'll be much better off than viewing themselves as somebody who can solve the problems and creating the mindset of accepting diversity is very important. The important point is not to club only with the best of the students or the best performers. I think a mix of diverse population, the students, if we are able to create some projects and give them the opportunity to solve problems, I think that's going to give us a lot of opportunity to develop the design thinkers for the future. And in this we can elaborate later. I just have another 4 minutes before I hand over the mic to floor to Mr. Sayanthan. So I would just keep 4 minutes for the question and answer. I hope I've been able to communicate what I wanted, and there is something for you to take away. But I'll open the floor for questions.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. I am Janakiram from Andhra Pradesh.
Yes, Ms. Janakiram.
Sir, my question is, you have told about empathy mapping, no, sir? Do we have to do empathy mapping after finding out the segment which we are going to do work on it, or first empathy mapping and decide the segment?
Well, I think when you're talking about, I would rather not bring in the segmentation into empathy mapping. If you bring again the marketing into the design thinking and mix up these two, probably you will get into the trap of again, creating a product, pricing, and all the 4 Ps or 7 Ps.
Not like that, sir. My question is, sir, before you go to empathy mapping, do we need to take general crowd and do empathy, or okay, if you want to make a car in particular segment of the people we are making car, we have to empathize only with them? That's what I mean.
Your approach is a customer centric approach, but what I am saying is who are the people who are likely to use. Don't look at the customer or the segment. Whoever you think is the user of it, use them for understanding the empathy part of it.
So for example, cell phone is a user. Cell phone users are all age group, all men and women, all they use cell phone, sir. Now I want to take a cell phone for a young people, or from some segment I should look at and I should do empathy with them, or should I do generally empathy?
No. My approach would be, I won't come into the segmentation concept at all. I am only looking at who are the likely users of this, and I would approach them. Now, a nano car could also be used by a upper middle class person. I don't have to assume that only a person of this income should be using this. So if you go into that, you will probably, the segmentation will put you into a trap, is my view.
Professor Rao, may I take this question also?
Yes, Sayanthan, welcome, and you join in, no problem.
No worries. I mean, to answer this question, already Professor Rao gave his version of that, and I think this is he has one view of it. Why it is risky if you just neglect other things, other people also who may be your user. That's what he wants to say. Also, what you are trying to say also is true, which is that should I be targeting everybody? Because if you try to do that, then you don't know whom to empathize with. Everybody out there in the market cannot be my market. So yes, you are right that when you are making a phone, and if you decide that I will be making this phone for the college goers, then your empathy should be only for college goers and not anybody else. What Professor Rao is talking about is, now you are making a phone, and then you are targeting the college goers. Could you sell the same phone to others also? You could have done it also, right? So you can keep your area of looking at the empathy map a little broadened, so that not only you probably 80% of your effort goes in understanding this college goers, but you don't miss out the fringe people. Fringe people are those who are not probably college goers, but has a bigger probability of using the same product, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for clarity.
Absolutely. I think that
I thank Mr. Rao also.
Yeah, Mr. Janakram, I think basically I want to resolve this conflict of customer and user. Basically, the mindset of customer is negating the mindset of a user. If it is not there, it is fine. Okay. Yeah, any other question?
Sir, I have a question. Actually, based on your one of the definitions, I understand design thinking goes beyond user and even serves how it is recycled and how it is destroyed. But all the discussions we had, I get an understanding that design thinking ends with the user. So I'm little confused whether it goes beyond the user or it ends with the user.
Okay, Mr. Manikandan, I noted this. This will be covered again tomorrow. So I'll continue and answer this question tomorrow. Okay. So it's already 3:46, and rightfully I should hand over the floor to Mr. Sayantan. And thank you all. I hope this addresses most of your concerns yesterday and what you had yesterday, and addresses new such sets of learning. And Mr. Sayantan Mukherjee will take the discussion forward from where I have left. Yeah, over to you, Sayantan. Thank you.
Sure, Professor Rao. But I guess I need to get the permission for screen sharing. I know it is off right now for me.
Okay. I'll do that. In the meanwhile, you continue. Yeah.
Okay, great. I mean, though I had been keeping my camera off most of the time because of bandwidth issues, it's really exciting to hear from you the way you are bringing your perspective. Thanks a lot for that. Now, where I will be starting off today from is mainly where Professor Rao just now finished. He just gave you an idea about empathy and understanding the customer, and a very rightful question was asked. I think that actually set up the context for the next session by Mr. Janaki Raman, that how do I do the empathy? And empathy, obviously, it's something where you can identify the segment for whom you are designing, and you understand them well. So you create the personas, that what Professor Rao showed you, creating personas and going ahead defining the customer journey map. These all come under the segment of it's a bridge between empathy. While you are doing the empathy, you learn all these things, and then you take it towards the next stage, which is the define stage, and also the very important stage we call the problem identification. So let me see. Yes, I have the present now option ready with me. Thank you, Professor Rao. I will go ahead with the presentation, and stop me in between wherever you want. And I will require a lot of your support to complete the presentation, because off and on I'll ask you a few things. So there is one request that I have. Please do keep a pen and paper with you, because now what we will be going into is quite technical. So we are breaking down whatever stories we have collected during the empathy journey, during discussion with your customer and all. At this stage, we are doing what we call the analysis of everything that we got, right? And we are trying to get a problem statement out of this, which problem statement has to be so sharp enough that the moment you look at it, you get an idea and you start working on it and create a solution, right? So just a minute. Yeah. Do let me know if you can see my screen. My screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir, we can see that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
So here we start, and now I have been telling you that it is one of the very important stages where we are, and nobody else other than Sir Albert Einstein himself explained us, focused on why this is so important. You know why? Because we are naturally creative. All of us have our mind extremely creative. We can come up with brilliant ideas. There is no doubt about our ability to think different. But if you look at businesses all around, the question that comes in our mind: if we are so amazingly creative, naturally creative, why is it that a lot of startups, a lot of big companies, when they come up with products, when they start their own new business, they fail? What is the problem? The problem most of the time is, though there was an innovative product, the product was not solving the latent need of the society or of a big group of people. Why is it happening? It's happening because most of the time people miss analyzing or spending time on analyzing a problem. And that's what Albert Einstein is talking about here. He's saying that 60 minutes if I get, I'll spend 55 minutes just to think about the problem. And once I understand exactly what the problem is, it just takes me 5 minutes to come up with a solution. So what we are going to do, and why I was telling you to keep a pen and paper ready, is because this is a very structured methodology I will be talking about. There is a 6-step framework that we will be following. This session, I will be talking about 3 steps. Okay. Next session, we will go 3 steps. This is so important that we have decided to put a lot of emphasis on this part. So we'll take it slow. We won't go fast. We'll take it slow. We'll try to understand from you whether you have understood it well. And once you have understood it well, I can bet you one thing, that next time when you face a problem or next time when you are trying to solve a problem, be that making a new product or making an existing process improvement, whatever it be it, you will be definitely doing it in a much simpler way. Okay, so here we go. And as I said, that I will be talking about both product and process. So understand that yesterday we had a few questions, right? That is design thinking only about engineering, or can we have some management problems also solved? This process that we are going to talk about, this is universal. You can apply it for anything. In fact, the funny part is you can even apply it in your own home. Like say, for example, if you have a problem back in your home, you're not able to manage things well, or you are having some problem with your family members, you can use it for that as well. So that's the fun of design thinking. You know, it is so universal, you can use it everywhere. Okay, but we have to understand the concepts very well. So please pay attention to the concepts. Okay, so the first question that that I have is, most of the times we see a lot of businesses make products. We make products everywhere we are going. People are making some products, and when I say products, I include service also. So in that way, say for example, Ola has created a product, I would say, though that's a service. Okay, so everybody is creating product. Now, when we create product, we believe that there is a need, and we had a brilliant discussion today morning on Tata Nano, right? So the assumption that people back at Tata was that people who are not able to spend a lot of money, they don't want to afford to buy a car. I will help them out with that. That was an assumption. Now with that assumption, they went ahead, they made something, and they realized that it's not the case. They are said the words that they have put into their marketing just backfired, right? So most of the times, what happens is we sell a few products thinking that this product is going to do this, but unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. So let me ask you this question. Now I have put a picture of a kind of a store. Okay. Now you can pretty well get an idea what kind of a store is this. Can you tell me that what kind of a store is this selling something? What are they selling? What comes in your mind?
Burgers, pizzas.
Burgers, pizzas.
So,
Okay.
restaurant.
Yeah, QSR.
Ambient.
Yes. So it's a QSR kind of restaurant. Well, now what am I trying to do is this is imaginary story. Okay. Now, no, not tiles. They are not selling tiles. They are just making the whole tile thing so that it attracts people. Okay. Now in this setup, what happens is these people are selling something which is a milkshake. Okay. And they want to make their milkshake sold more. Yeah, a lot of junk food, yes, true. So milkshake is one of those, and this is what it is. Now, what they are trying to do is they want to sell more milkshakes. Who are their competitors? Can you think? Let's say this is an XYZ QSR. Okay, who is their competitor? Any name you can tell selling similar stuff?
Sir,
Yes.
their competitors would
Starbucks,
be
McDonald's.
Okay. Starbucks, McDonald's. Yeah.
KFC.
Yes, huh? KFC. Correct. Correct. Like this, right? Burger King, McDonald's, Starbucks, KFC. They are their competitors. So can I safely assume? Can I safely tell you that if they need to sell more milkshakes, they have to make better milkshakes than Burger King's and the McDonald's and the KFC's milkshake. Can I safely say that?
Yes, sir.
No.
Acha, somebody is saying no. Why no, sir?
You need to see the customers what they want, not the competitors what they look at.
Okay, but they are also selling milkshake. I am also selling milkshake. If I just take their market, it will be good only, na?
Sir?
Yeah, I guess to need to have a better customer, they have to see what others are selling.
Okay, what others are selling, yes, for that only, or if I just can increase myself, I mean, I want to increase myself. So if others sell decrease, myself will increase. Is it the
No,
right?
I mean, what I mean here is, of course, they need to see what the customer actually wants and what's the highest seller in the market is selling. So that way, I guess I can have some reference for the benchmarking thing which I need.
Okay, for benchmarking purposes. That makes
Sir,
sense.
you can also go for new customer you can include. Those who are not currently consuming, you can even include.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other perspective?
When you go and meet the customer, you will see the different perspectives and the different things, and you can extend the market size also. You can even catch the different market segment also.
Awesome, excellent. You already
Yes.
are a design thinker, man.
Sir, I want to say something.
Yeah.
How do I create something different, and how do I also create market wherein nothing that sort of is existing?
Okay. But sir, let me tell you that they are probably thinking of only selling more milkshakes. Okay.
Within same category, how do I create something kind of niche which is not existing, and I at the same time I'm able to create market for my product itself?
Awesome. Very good answers. I mean, amazing answers from you. And honestly, I was not expecting this. What I was expecting, I will tell you. I was expecting you to say that yes, Burger Kings and all that, if they reduce, mine will increase. And that's why the next thing was not really. Okay. So, okay, good. I mean, amazing. Already the stage is ready for the next thing. And now I'll tell you that this is not a very made up story. It's a real story that we had been talking about, and this story is narrated very well by this guy, none other than Professor Clayton Christensen. I just worship this guy, amazing person, and he passed away this year. No, sorry, I cannot.
1.5 year.
Last year, yeah. Did I hear something?
1.5 year.
Yeah. Last year, he passed away. So Professor Clayton Christensen, we will listen to him in this small video. It's a 4-minute video. Please listen to this, where he's talking about what happened to this milkshake. And incidentally, this is McDonald's milkshake. And the story goes that way. And he's talking about what happened there and how he realized how McDonald's can increase the sale. So over to this video. Please listen this carefully.
Let me start with a silly example of milkshakes. One of the big fast food restaurant companies was trying to goose up the sales of its milkshakes. They segmented their markets first by product category. You had the main meals over
Sir,
here.
it's not audible properly, so can you please switch on the subtitles?
Oh, and I don't have the subtitles for this.
Can you increase the value?
Okay, let me increase the volume. Just 1 minute, huh? Sorry. You let me know if you are able to.
Let me start with a silly example of milkshakes. One of the big fast food restaurant companies was trying to goose up its sales.
This is better?
Yeah. They segmented their markets first by product category. You had the main meals over here, and then they had the desserts over here that were categorized by product. They could tell you exactly how many milkshakes were sold by McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and so on. And they also segmented their market by demographics. So they could give you a demographic profile of the people that were most likely to buy it. They even had psychographic profiles of these people. So they would invite people who fit those profiles into conference rooms and say, could you tell us what we could do to our milkshake that would cause you to buy more of them? Do you want it chocolatey, creamier, chunkier, chewier, cheaper? And they get very good feedback. They would then improve the product, and it never had any impact on sales or profitability whatsoever. So one of our colleagues went in and just stood in one of their restaurants for 18 hours with the question on his mind, gosh, I wonder what job people hire a milkshake to do for them. So he took very careful data on when did they buy it, what were they wearing, were they alone or with a group of people, did they buy a meal with the milkshake or just the milkshake, did they eat it in the restaurant, did they leave? It turned out that nearly half the milkshakes were sold in the very early morning. It was the only thing they bought, they were always alone, and they always got in the car and drove off with it. So the next morning he comes back and he confronts these people as they're leaving the restaurant with the milkshake in hand. And he asks them, excuse me, please, but could you tell me what job you were trying to get done for yourself when you came here to hire this milkshake? As they would struggle to answer, he'd say, well, think about when you're in the same situation, needing to get the same thing done, but you didn't come here to hire a milkshake. What did you hire? And it turned out that they all had a similar job. That was, they had a very long and very boring commute to work. They just needed something to do while working. One hand had to be on the wheel, but God had given them this extra cup holder, and they just needed to keep busy. They weren't hungry yet, but they knew they'd be hungry by 10 o'clock. So they wanted something that would just thunk down in their stomach and stay for a while. So what do I hire when I got this job to do? Well, come to think of it, I hired a banana last Friday, but it didn't do the job. Gone in 2 minutes. I was hungry by 7:30. And yeah, I guess I hired donuts on occasion, but they get my fingers sticky. It gets the steering wheel gooey. And I hire bagels, but they're dry, tasteless, crumb all over my clothes. If I put cream cheese or jam on them, then I got to steer with my knees. And then if the phone rings, that's a problem. And I remember once I hired a Snickers bar, but it made me feel so guilty I never hired one again. But let me tell you, when I hire one milkshake, it is so viscous that it easily takes me 20 minutes to suck it up that thin little straw. I have no idea what the components of it are, the ingredients, but I do know I'm still full at 10 o'clock, and it fits right in that cup holder. And it turns out that the milkshake does the job better than any of the competitors. Competitors are not Burger King milkshakes, but bananas, donuts, bagels, Snickers bars. And very importantly, the milkshake is competing against boredom because it's so inconvenient to find your way to that restaurant, and then you got to wait in the drive-through lane or the line inside to get it, that a lot of times they just drive to work bored out of their tree.
So, what was your take of this video?
Think from a different perspective and on a wider range kind of what it could be and why it could be.
Exactly. Exactly, 1 point. Okay, any other points?
Sir, convenience. It should be easily available. I mean, it should be a preferred one.
True. See, the point is, when McDonald's was making the milkshake, their assumption was people want to buy a milkshake. That's why they come there. They want to enjoy the milkshake. Now, these guys, whoever was found to be the final customers, they were coming for certain reasons. What were those? One was, they said that I am not yet full. I am still fine. I mean, I am not yet hungry. Sorry. I am not yet hungry. I am still fine. But by the time I reach office, I will be hungry. So I need to fill my stomach. Also, one of the biggest important thing was that they have a long drive to go and they want to stay awake, stay alive, right? Now, if they have tried other stuff, but this milkshake was the perfect one because the milkshake was a bit thick, right? The thicker milkshake was not going up the straw very easily. So it was taking him time. So it was a companion for him throughout the journey. And also he was doing something. While he was driving, he was constantly having a suck at it. So obviously the quantity itself may help. Automatically, if we start thinking how they can improve, see, the moment the problem statement has come to us, we can start thinking, we can start saying that, can we add certain ingredients in it so that the whole thing becomes a little more thicker? But at the same time, it has to go up. Obviously, it has to go up. Can we add a few choco chips kind of things that goes in and makes that person enlightened? Okay, fine, there is some secret that's there I don't know about, right? So see, what the company thought probably of that they are actually selling and why somebody is buying is completely different. And this is something that you can understand only when you do empathy. Have you seen there when Professor Clayton Christensen was saying that this guy next day went up, stopped his customers and say, I want to understand from you why you are buying this. And there was not a straightforward answer. Nobody knew. They said that they could have probably said that I just wanted a milkshake. But then he pushed them and asked them, when you didn't have a milkshake, what else did you buy? So he was looking for the alternatives that people have tried. And this is exactly what, as a design thinker, you are supposed to do. When you are trying to work on a product, a new product coming out, or you are designing a service, you first try to understand, before even jumping into the way of designing it, you first watch that how people are managing it today. What are the alternatives, right? So this is something that that we call as the first stage. And if you remember, while you registered for this FDP, we asked you this question. There was some form that Professor Bhaskar has sent you, and there you have filled certain, you were answering certain questions. Few of it was talking about this, that why do you want to register for this? We were trying to see your commitment, for sure, obviously that's one thing, but we also wanted to understand what is your motivation to come and register for this FDP. And in general, when somebody makes one FDP on design thinking, they think that, see, faculty members are coming, corporate professionals are coming, probably they want to understand the basics of design thinking, and that's why they are registering, right? That's what the assumption is. You know what we found? We found 13 different reasons why you registered. And this was amazing. I mean, we never expected that we are going to see people saying that they want to design effective curriculum. That's why they are registering for this. They want to engage students more. It's even today, if I ask you that why you have registered, you probably will tell me that design for us, we need to learn. But at the back of your mind, you want to learn this and apply somewhere. And the work, the job you want to get done is probably engage more students, or design a new product, or start a new business in different industries. The color coding that you are seeing, they are related color codings. So the bluish violet color ones are the ones that are related to academics. Then this orangish colored ones are those from businesses. And then there is some self-improvement ones as well. And obviously one light green, that is what we expected, the basics of design thinking. A few of you have also mentioned that you want to understand the basics of design thinking. But these 13 reasons were not anticipated. We didn't know that these are the jobs you want to get done by registering yourself in this FDP, right? So now, this is the step one. So I mentioned you that there is going to be 6 steps. First step is what is understanding the job your user wants to get done. How you know that? You know that while you are doing the empathy, you are running the empathy. You come back after your empathy process. So you understood, you did some primary and the secondary research, and finally you said that this is my customer segment or user segment, rather I would say, and the job my user wants to get done is this. Fine. That statement always has to be there at the beginning. Why will you do that? Because end of the day, when you finally define your problem statement, you will look at the problem statement and say, when I solve this problem statement, is it going to help my user get the job he is trying to get done? If yes, awesome. Now I am ready to go to the next step, which is ideation. Fine. So this is the step 1 of problem identification. We are now moving to the step 2. And step 2 is identifying and analyzing the system. Sounds technical, but there is nothing much to worry about. I'll go slow. I'll explain it in details. Don't worry at all about it. So the step 2, after you understood the job to be done, is analyzing the system, identifying and analyzing the system. Okay. So the first question that people ask is, what is the system? What are you talking about? What are we going to analyze? Actually, what you are going to analyze is something that you need to improve. You want to improve, or you want to create probably a new product. Probably, so I have the options, like in this case that we have taken the example of, milkshake is our system. Okay, or say for example for us, when we were trying to design this FDP, and I have mentioned this multiple times, that a lot of effort has been gone behind designing this FDP in from design thinking perspective as well. So keeping you at the center, you are the user for us. So keeping you at the center, this has been designed. So similarly, people who wanted to work on coming up with a new product, for them product is the system. Somebody who wants to design an effective curriculum, for them curriculum is the system, right? So whatever you want to improve or you want to work upon, that becomes your system, and you are going to analyze the system. So what analysis, what is the analysis of it? First, let me ask you something. Let's imagine, okay, this is a vacuum cleaner, right? Now, imagine a situation where somebody was using the vacuum cleaner back at your home. Some person, not you, somebody else was using the vacuum cleaner back at your home, and it stopped working suddenly. You were not there when this happened. You were told that this happened, the vacuum cleaner is not working. What do you do first time? What is the first action that you will take?
We will call service provider.
Okay, you will call service provider is one.
First, knowing the problem, sir. What happened, when happened?
Okay.
I think the first step is to see whether the power connection is correct or not. Power connection is correctly put or not.
Awesome, brilliant. Okay, power connection is correct or not, you will check. Okay, any other points?
Yeah, just restart the vacuum cleaner once more and see if it works again.
Sometimes it works that way. Even if you kick, it may work. You don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. Yeah, true. So even the reason I mentioned that you were not the one who was running it, somebody else was running it, because most of the time we also check, do you ever tried the vacuum cleaner before? Have you used it before? What did you do? We also do that, right? The operator, we ask him whether that person knows the use of the vacuum cleaner and all. And rightly mentioned that electric connection, whether that was there. So I say, for example, now this part is done. You have checked with the people, no problem, they are fine. You have checked the current, that's also fine. Next, yes, obviously you can call the operator, the service engineer. Say, for example, you are that kind of a guy who does not easily call the service engineer. What do? You start opening the vacuum cleaner and see, at least if you are confident that you are not breaking it up into pieces, you still will try your hand at things, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what we are going to do. We are going to break into the system into smaller parts, and as you rightly mentioned, there are going to be two aspects of it. One is the subsystems, what is inside this vacuum cleaner kind of thing, okay? And the other is super system, which is the things that are associated, the things which this system is interacting. So as rightly mentioned, electric current is there or not. Electric current is not a part of the vacuum cleaner itself, but it interacts with. So that becomes a super system, right? The operator who is operating it is not a part of the vacuum cleaner. He is a super system. The ground on which it is going, that also is not a part of the vacuum cleaner. That also is a super system. But what are the parts of the vacuum cleaner? Probably the lid. Inside it, if there are wires, yes. There are some electronic components, obviously. Some kind of suction pump must be. All these things are things that constitute this vacuum cleaner itself is your subsystems, right? So now going back to our example of, we have two examples. We'll off and on take these two. One is our FDP and the other is this milkshake, okay? And why I'm doing it this way? Because this milkshake is a product. So through this, I will explain you how to apply this whole process on a product, and creating this FDP is a process. So that also will be taken care of. So right now, I am taking the milkshake as the example. For this milkshake, can anybody tell you? Can anybody tell me what should be the subsystems of this milkshake?
The ingredients.
Okay, name a few.
Milk, sugar,
Ice cream.
ice,
Okay, yeah.
cream,
Okay.
chocolate. The
Awesome.
holder.
Yes.
Glass itself.
Refrigerator.
Now, this is fun. This is fun.
Straw.
Huh? The
Straw.
Straw.
straw. Okay. Yeah. See, this is one important point. You have already brought this. So let's say if we go to a temple, right? And what happened? They give us prasadam, right? So what do? We just put our hand like this. They put it on our hand. So we take it directly. Now you cannot expect when you go to McDonald's, you ask for milkshake and you do this, they will put milkshake on your hand, right? You don't take it that way. So when you go and ask for milkshake in McDonald's, you are not only expecting the milkshake as a component, you also expect the container to come with it, the straw to come with it. It's natural. We expect it. We don't say it. We don't go and say that milkshake has to be within the container with a straw. We never say that, right? So when you are talking about a system, understand that the system in its whole, what do you mention? Okay, we will come to FDP also this way, and you only will tell me that what are the different components of the FDP. But for the time being, as you rightly said, these are the few component subsystems of the milkshake. So we have broken the milkshake into parts, various parts. Okay. Similarly, the super systems also we have broken. Super system means with which this thing is interacting, right? So this thing is interacting with the user who is actually going to have it. The MACD person who is serving the milkshake to the customer, she or he is also the milkshake, also the super system. Then there is an infrastructure of MACD that's there. So in infrastructure is a big word. You can talk about the different, the flows and everything is infrastructure. Also the tray that's given, that can be an infrastructure. So everything is an infrastructure. Where the milkshake is held before it is put into the container, that's also an infrastructure. Everything is infrastructure, right? But that's infrastructure is one. And then there is a car, because this guy is bringing the milkshake back into the car and he's putting it somewhere, either in the cup holder or somewhere he's putting it, right? So there is this few components which we call the super system with which this milkshake is interacting. Okay, these are the subsystems and the super systems of milkshake. Up till this part, is this clear to you?
Absolutely, sir. It's clear.
Awesome, great. Now, this is something that you can aramse do. Professor Rao, can we have the poll 4? So I have a question for you, and the question is this. I will give you
to continue doing this, the poll will be on.
Okay, no worries. We can anyways come back also and try it out. No worries on that. But I am pretty sure you can answer this because you have already done it for the milkshake. But why I brought this FDP now? Because I want to shift your perspective slowly from product to process. And while you do that, you will realize that how you can apply design thinking or this process in itself on designing a process as well, an innovative process as well. Okay. So I think the poll will come. In the meantime, what I will do is I'll ask you, can you give me a few subsystems of this FDP that's going on right now?
Internet, computer.
Okay.
Organizers, the participants.
Participants, hold on to that thought. Hold on to that thought. Participants is a faculty, yes. Resource person.
The platform.
Platform, okay. PPT, yes.
Content of the workshop.
Content of the workshop. What else? Speakers, organizers, yes. Themes. Okay. Now this is
availability of
so there is a poll that has been launched. Can you just answer it? Let's see what is the answer coming up. I also need to open it.
Broadband connectivity.
Broadband connectivity. Oh, so we had so many problems yesterday. Definitely, that's one of the things to take care of. Yeah.
Controlling
these
the
are all
team.
Controlling the team.
Yeah, team and team leaders.
Okay. Okay. That's cool. Yes, definitely.
Atoll platform, sir.
What else?
Atoll platform.
Atoll platform. Yes.
That is super system.
Sir, but that wouldn't it be super system, the Atul platform?
I'm just gathering information now. Let's see what's coming next.
Funding also subsystem. Funding.
Funding subsystem. No?
Funding must be super system, I guess.
So yeah, exactly my point. I think that is super system.
Funding has to be super system. Yes.
Yes.
And I believe the platform of Atal happens to be super system, but the platform, as in this Google Meet
is a
subsystem.
Yes, I totally agree, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. See again.
You need to tell us one more time about the system, subsystem, and super systems.
I'll do that, ma'am. No worries. I'll explain you exactly what it is. But now we mostly got quite a lot, and I see that content. Everybody agrees that it's a subsystem. A few of you say trainer is a subsystem, learner also is a subsystem. Learner's laptop is a subsystem. Certificate is, one person says certificate subsystem. Evaluation, nobody says. Okay. Why? You don't like evaluation, huh? You love evaluating, but you don't like evaluation. Okay.
Because evaluation doesn't give the 100% picture.
This will be linked to your students also, huh? By the way. This will be on YouTube.
Yeah, we do agree that. We do agree. We don't rely on the numbers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, actually, it's very difficult to convert something quite subjective into objective. But anyways, these are the subsystems, but I am open to debate. And you know what? In innovation, there is nothing right, nothing wrong. If there would have been, then everybody would have been a successor, right? A successful person or successful business. Here, now, what are the different things that you see? Content. Most of you agreed content is one of the subsystems. Yes. The one that next you see is schedule. The schedule itself is a subsystem of this FDP. Like exactly when we are coming in, when we are joining, though it is very intangible, but it's there. It's somewhere hidden within this FDP. Then comes the evaluation in itself. Evaluation is the process of evaluation. That's a part of the subsystem. Certificate that is going to you. With the FDP comes the certificate. Certificate does not come separately. With the FDP it goes, right? Now, I don't remember, ma'am was asking to repeat the subsystem, supersystem stuff. Let me go back to that slide once more and I will take the example. Okay, first let me show you the definition. When you have a system, something that you want to improve, okay, or you are creating it, whatever is made up of it, whatever is making it is the subsystem. Okay, so as a human being, our skin, our blood, our nerves, our vessels, everything, our brain, these are our subsystems. Now, once we are born, we are interacting with our peers, we are interacting with the nature, we are interacting with everything around us.
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Can we say that the objective of this FDP is the system and the schedule, the content are like the subsystem of this?
Yeah, you can say that. So what essentially system is, system has the subsystems. So the moment you join those subsystems, no, the system should appear. Now, when you say objective of the FDP, and if I say that there is content, there is schedule, there is evaluation, if I join them, do I get objective of the FDP? I get the FDP as a whole, right? So when you are breaking it into subsystems, ensure that when you join those things back, what you get has to be the system. And if you, so for example, trainers, obviously there is a big question that are trainers and learners, are they subsystems or should they be super systems? In my example here, they are super systems. Why super systems? Because FDP The program as a whole is interacting with us. The content is interacting with you, made by me, but without that, if the content in itself, there is no meaning, right? So what when I join this content, when I join the certificate, the evaluation process, and the schedule, I punch them together, FDP is there. Okay, whether you are there or I am not, I am there, doesn't matter. The FDP is there, FDP is ready, right? You understood this point?
So may I?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Any question you had? No?
Yes, yeah. I didn't quite understand the concept that learner is not a subsystem. I mean, we start from the earlier session also, we had the empathize, we should be having that. And then, of course, here, don't you think the central focal point would be the learner? I mean, the content or everything is designed, in the FDP, true. But learner is a central part or the focal point also, isn't it? As included with the trainer.
Absolutely. Amazing question, ma'am. And this is something that I
And
need to
Deepa,
clarify.
thank you.
I mean, I need to clarify this point immediately. Now, design thinking, as you know, is this 5-stage process, right? So while you are in the empathy, you design thinking, the whole process has customer at the center. And when you are doing empathy, you are only looking at the customer. You are trying to design a product or a service for that customer. The moment you move from empathy, you are actually shutting down your right brain. Right brain, you have asked them that, okay, I have discussed with the people, I am not using my creative mind anymore. I am only analytical now. When you say analytical, you are becoming completely who is logical, who doesn't understand anything but logic. And now you are developing a product. In this system, product becomes the system at that time. In this process, product becomes the system at that time. Okay, so the whole design thinking process, as you rightly mentioned, is centered for the customer. But once you have understood what he or she needs, you are moving to make the product now. At that point of time, the customer, you are not looking at the customer. You will tell that customer is somebody who the product is going to interact with, but you have to design the product, right? So for example, when we spoke about the phone, right? When you decide to make the phone, initially you were deciding who is going to be my customer segment, and you decided that college girls is going to be my customer segment. So you empathized with them, understood what their needs are. Once all this data is taken, done, you are not looking back on the customer right at this stage in define. You have moved to define stage. Now you are saying that the only objective right now is how I make this product better, which is the phone product, which is going to suit the requirements that I have got from the customer. So at that time, what you are improving this system, or you're making this system. And what is the system? That's the phone. So your phone becomes at the center, and then you break it into subsystems and supersystems. Why we are doing it? You will understand slowly as we go all the 6 stages. No, you will realize by the end that this is why we have actually taken the phone at the center, or here the milkshake at the center, or the FDP at the center, and we are analyzing it. Okay, does this answer your question, ma'am?
Thank you very much. Well said. Thank you.
Okay, just a minute, I don't know what open. Okay, fine. So once we are here, we are moving to the third, and this is going to be the last part of what we are going to cover today under problem identification. This is what we call the identifying of the interactions. So what happens is we have broken the big piece into small pieces. We have also identified with whom this whole system has been interacting, right? So that was our subsystem and supersystem. Now once done, we make something that looks like this. It's an interaction matrix. Okay, we call it interaction matrix. Okay, and I will be showing you how the interaction matrix will look like for this FDP. So the rule of making this interaction matrix is, on the horizontal and vertical, you can see the yellow blocks. On it, you just write down the names of the subsystems and the supersystems. Simply, don't think of anything blindly. You have made the super system, write it down, and it will look like this. Okay. So we have content, we have schedule, we have evaluation, certificate, and then we have trainer, learner, physical infrastructure, virtual infrastructure, and consumable. By the way, I missed talking about this. I'll talk about it. You may be thinking, why is there a big chicken piece and all those stuff? The reason why I have put is, our FDP starts at 2:30. So you must have already had your lunch. And what happens is, this lunch itself has some impact on you. That is also interacting with you. And that's not only interacting with you, that's interacting with the FDP. Because if I am sleepy or if you are sleepy, then the whole FDP is sleepy. So that's why this is one of the most important factors that we have to consider in our super systems. Okay. That's why we have one last block, which is consumables, how it interacts and how it impacts. Now, once you have made this, the next stage that you do is identify. You can see that there is on the horizontal plane also, there are this list. On the vertical also, there is this list. What you have to do is, you have to identify whether they are having any interaction with each other or not. If there is an interaction, you put a plus sign. If there is no, you put a minus sign. Okay. So, content with schedule. Is there an interaction? Some way, some kind of interaction, the content and the schedule?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Yes. Similarly, let me go to say physical infrastructure. I am jumping a few steps. I am saying physical infrastructure. Okay. Physical infrastructure with the content. What do I mean by physical infrastructure? Physical infrastructure is where you are sitting. So I can see Professor Sandesh is sitting in front of our window, I guess. I can see the curtain. So now that's his infrastructure. That's where he's feeling comfortable, right? We all are feeling comfortable. I am sitting in a place where I am feeling comfortable. Now they are also contributing in some way or the other, right? So that's one of the interactions. Is the content interacting with the physical infrastructure directly somewhere? No.
No.
Yes. No, it's not. So
no.
You see, now it is looking like this. You can see the physical infrastructure, there is a minus sign with content. Now again, this interaction matrix also is very, very debatable and depends on individuals. Sometimes it happens that you can find out a way how one thing is interacting with the other, but I don't understand the logic. I may not put it, but you will think that, no, I want to put it. Why we are doing this interaction matrix, we will discuss again in the next stage. But what I am doing right now is taking you step by step towards that final problem statement. Okay. So this is what is happening to you. Now, once you have created this is created for a process. What we will do now, we will have a look for a product. And for our example that we are taking, the product is milkshake. So this milkshake, when I am putting here, do you agree that the interaction matrix should look like this? I have not yet put the plus and the minus sign. Do you agree? This is fine. Or do you want to add a few things anywhere on the horizontal or the vertical axis? This should be good, right? Because these are the different subsystems and supersystems we spoke of, right?
Sir, could I just put in a point? Is the vehicle interior, is that actually a variable? Do we really need to put that in the interaction matrix?
Okay. First, let me understand from you. Do you think that we should not put it?
I don't think it is necessary, because see, if I am a consumer and I am walking into McDonald's.
I lost you.
I was muted by mistake. Yeah. So okay. I was saying that suppose I am a consumer, I am walking into McDonald's and I'm having a dine-in meal. So I don't think the vehicle interior would actually matter in this context.
Absolutely, you are right. When you are having a dine-in, you don't need it. But if you remember Professor Christensen's story, he was talking about people who go, they take it, and they go into the car and drive off, right?
Okay, so if it is only takeaway, then it is okay.
Exactly.
Then it's a
So
variable. All
these
right. Okay.
contexts, no, will keep on changing, huh? And keep
Sir,
on
I have a
changing.
doubt here.
Yeah, yeah. Go
Like
ahead.
just now you mentioned the interior of the car doesn't affect if it's a dining
Dining.
option, right?
Yes, yes.
But if we imagine a situation where a person is driving Maruti 800 whose AC is not working, which it doesn't do in most of the Indian typical summers,
Okay.
and now if he's going to McD and ordering, of course he's not going to order a cold hot coffee.
Okay.
As opposed to somebody who's driving a high-end car and is having quite a comfortable kind of interiors in his car. Does it relate to anyhow with this?
I told you. See, this is the fun part of innovation. You know how you take it. Now, what I get your point. You are saying that because the interior of the car was hot enough, that motivated this individual to go ahead and buy a milkshake, right?
Yes, sir.
In this case, if you have the logic, you can say that, and I'll show you how it comes out. But generally, you don't put it. Why? Because the world has multiple reasons for me to go ahead and buy a milkshake. Now, if I start putting all of those, then it will be a never-ending interaction matrix. So what we do, we will look at the system and say, is the system, which in this case, the milkshake with the container, with the straw and all, anyway, are they coming in contact with the car? If not, then I am not going to put it right now. That's not going
Get your point. Get your point. But I just wanted to bring that into
this is a very good point. This is a very good point. Probably this may be useful when you are positioning your product. That I will be looking for customers who have faulty ACs. So yeah, that will be definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have a point in this regard. Can I share something?
Yes,
when I construct the row and column, here you have taken 7. Just addition to the lady. That means in the original fundus model, there is a 10 by 10 they are suggesting. 10 by 10 interaction matrix. But now this 7 or 5, whatever I think appropriate in a particular product, and now I can fit with it. Is it correct?
Sir, actually, I missed your voice a bit in between. Can you please repeat your question?
I think you have taken 7 by 7 column. No, 7 and 7.
Correct.
Original fundus model suggest 10 by 10.
Oh, okay. Actually, this there is no specific number associated with this interaction matrix. It depends on how many supersystem and subsystem components you could identify. If you have, say, for example, 15 supersystems and 20 subsystems, then 35 to 35 has to be it. Okay, it is always these two should be the same. Otherwise, there is no actual number, hard-on number you have to put.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just need one.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Actually,
sorry, I think Manish.
the super systems and subsystems have to be prioritized and arranged, or it can be anywhere in the matrix.
There is no problem. Only for my convenience, what I did is I put the super systems first and then subsystems. But there is no necessary process that you follow. You can use anyway. You just need
in decision making, you have to give weightage to each one and then prioritize. Otherwise, how would you come up with the end result?
This is not decision making. We are not even making any decision. We are breaking the whole thing into small parts. We will come to that. What you are mentioning, that will be we will come to that when we are ranking ideas. It will be on the design solution, post design solution. We will have one session. I'll take it there.
Okay. Sorry, madam. Sorry.
No worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am, you are saying something.
Yeah, no problem. I was just going back to the concept of vehicular interior relevance in creating this matrix. It is because the idea of fast food, or whether you're having a burger or a shake on a go, so when you are moving, you can't drive and drink, but you can drive and eat and keep your burger by your side. But keeping a glass or a mug, you need a specific place. And that's why perhaps irrespective of the car you're driving, if you're taking something from a fast food joint, which is likely to be more towards a burger or a mug or a coffee thing, then you need a space to keep. So irrespective of the car you are driving, you will require a kind of a holder which will not allow you to spill and also allow you to drive properly.
True. In fact, if you see many vehicle car interiors right now, in fact, it's a norm now to put cup holders. And generally, you will find there will be at the center console, no, there will be these cup holders.
True.
In India, people you will find coins and keys residing,
True.
but that's for a different purpose. Yeah.
Sir, I want to update one small thing so that everybody would be aware of the importance of the cup holder. There was a famous case in America where a lady won millions of dollars claiming that the cup was not mentioned that it is hot, and she put her in between the lap, and it caused an accident on her lap and she ditched in a tree. So the court gave her millions of dollars from, I think, Starbucks or somebody, because the cup was not mentioning that it is hot. So it might sound crazy in India, but that is how it is there in US. So the cup holder is a necessity for the subsystem.
True.
No, that was, Professor, to give a holder aside, marking it specifically, saying the contents are hot and be careful while carrying it. Not because they wanted a place to keep in the car. It was because before they put it in their mouth, they know what is going in. Unless you touch it to your tongue, you'll not know how hot it is. But you need to read that warning on that specific paper. Or you get a MACD wrap also, they do mention on the wrap as well.
No, what I'm trying to say is you don't take the literal meaning from that example. What I'm trying to say is subsystems interaction. Somebody asked whether it is important subsystem to whether it is really interacting with the milkshake or not.
True.
It is interacting. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I have actually kept quite less numbers over here. When I go to the next stage, which I will be taking tomorrow, you will realize that if you would have broken the MCD infrastructure, the MACD infrastructure, further into the chairs, the tables, the trays, things would have been a little more clearer, a little more easier. And when you actually design, sometimes it's better to identify where the problem lies and then further go down and analyze more, identify more subcomponents of it and using it. So it's completely logic based. If your logic says this works, go ahead and try it out. There is nothing that I was taught that it has to be put this way. No, nothing like that. I am just trying to explain you the process. You can do it in your way. Okay. Now I'll require little help in filling this. Okay. So can somebody help me out with a few of the? So let's say with the straw. Straw with straw, it is already blackened. So straw with cream, is there any interaction?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
What about milk?
Yes.
Yes.
So how many plus signs should I be putting in the row straw? And where?
The column straw, I mean.
Yes, sorry. No. Okay, fine. Whatever you choose. I was looking at this. And saying,
okay.
But whatever. Generally, I do it this way. But there is, again, no hard and fast rule. You can go ahead and try it your way. Okay, and one more thing, whatever you put here, right? Say, for example, if you're going row wise, whatever you put here, you can just copy the same thing over here. Transpose option you can use in Excel and you can create it. You just copy, transpose it and put it vertical. It's the same thing. So across this diagonal, it's identical, it's symmetric. Okay. Do I have to explain why it is, or I think you already understood that?
Can you explain, sir?
Okay, good. See, when I say straw and I look at cream, I will put either a plus or a minus. Similarly, I'll do it for milk, container, chocolate, and all. Now you see, here is straw, and here is the same thing, right? Cream, milk, container. So whatever you are putting here is the same thing that's going to come here, right? Does this make sense?
So we are checking whether they are correlated or not. That's all.
Whether they are
correlated or not.
Correlated. Actually.
Yeah, like a correlation matrix. Yeah.
Actually, you don't use the word correlation because why? Because increasing something is having impact or not is not something that we are checking here. We are checking whether there is only any impact. Why I avoided the word correlation is it takes us a little bit towards more statistical technicality. I am not going there. I am just looking at that. Is there an impact? Straw doing anything to the cream? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Is there an interaction? Yes or no? Yes, there is. Okay, plus sign. And you don't think anything more. Next stage, when we go, we will define the interactions. Okay. It will look like this. Okay. Yes. Somebody was adding some points over here. Okay, now I didn't actually essentially put anything else today. I essentially wanted to stop here. And what I would like to tell you is, Professor Rao, can you please bring up the assignment that's been given so we can discuss a bit on how to do that. If you can present, I will stop my presentation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We need to finalize how are we going to do the grouping also, the pairing. That also we need to discuss. So we still have maybe 10 minutes more. And yeah. Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay. Okay, great. Can you just scroll a bit? I'll just explain. So essentially, there are two phases, right? You must have learned this, that there are two phases in which we are having this presentation. Okay. First phase is going to be only focused on identifying the problem statement. And as I has been highlighting this part, focusing on it, that once you have done this job, you have done 80% of your work. Okay. So first assignment will be focused only on the assignment. Professor Rao, can you just scroll a little bit upwards? No, I mean, yeah, this part. So what we will be doing is, you can bring in your own problem statements, something that you want to solve at your wherever you work or whatever problem you want to solve, and then you have to do this few things to define your problem statement. Till now, what we have done is creation of the interaction matrix, which is point number 4, first half. Create the interaction matrix, analyze the interaction of the sub and super system, and then there is deep diving and how might be problem. How might be statement formulation. These three things we will do tomorrow, but at least today, what you can do is first identify a user segment or something you want to improve or something. So this can be the first thing. You identify the chosen industry. It's definitely going to be yours. Post that, write one sentence where you just tell that my user wants to get this job done using the product or service that I am creating. So what is the job your user wants to get done? Write that. That's it. You don't need to do much. Post that, analyze the system. So just say that this is the system that I want to improve. And what is there in that system? There are some subsystems, there are some supersystems, right? Point out that these are the subsystems, these are the supersystems, and then create this interaction matrix. You can easily create it in an Excel sheet. Put all the names of the subsystems and the supersystems vertically and horizontally, and plus and minus sign throughout. Okay, and then identify that whether they have an interaction. There is nothing right and wrong. Again, I am telling you, don't worry about whether you made it right. Following the process is important, but whatever you put, you should have a logic behind it. Okay, so for example, if somebody asks that, why do you think this is the job your user wants to get done? You should be having an answer that though the product seems to solve this problem, but actually my user is using this product for getting this job done. So for example, when I showed you the different requirements under FDP, the 13 different reasons why you apply for this FDP, if somebody asked me that why are we running this FDP, I would say my user wants to create a very effective curriculum for his or her students. That's why he or she is taking up this FDP. That's one of the job to be done for one kind of a customer. Similarly, there are multiple users over here, multiple job to be done. But for you, you have to just write one job to be done, then do the system analysis and create the interaction matrix. So today, post this session, just do these three things. Okay, and I think we will be able to share you your pair with whom you can. So what is the requirement of this pairing and all? This is not a group assignment. So it's not that two people are doing the same thing. You all are doing it separately. Pairing is more of a peer review kind of thing. So before you actually submit it to us and we have a look at it, it's better that two people interact and say that, okay, whatever, this is what I made, just have a look. What do you think? Any suggestions you want to provide or anything you want to say? And similarly, the other person also does the same. So while peer learning happens, you will get to learn that exactly these are the few things that you can work upon, you can discuss a bit. So that's the only reason why we are having this pairing. Otherwise, it's not a group assignment for sure. Okay, so till today, you complete the interaction matrix. Tomorrow, first session, I'll complete these three other stuff and I'll touch upon ideation. And second half, I'll go in depth of the ideation part. But end of tomorrow, before coming to the next session, when you are submitting end of tomorrow, you just will complete the next three parts, next three stages, which is analyzing the system, analyzing the interaction, the deep dive, and how might be formulation. These three things only you will do, and you will be providing us the phase one of the assignment. Okay.
Sir,
I have a query.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, in the assignment you have mentioned that we need to choose an industry of our choice. Now, since we are doing this course on design thinking, is it necessary to choose an industry per se, or can I apply it to something personal that I have?
Absolutely.
Like, maybe a personal challenge that I'm facing or something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would encourage you to do that, because if you do that, then you will see the results happening immediately. So go ahead and do that. The first line is just for a generic audience to understand that there is something you have to choose a problem from somewhere. You can see my home is my industry, and there is a problem and I want to solve it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Okay, as far as the pairing is concerned, if you have any special preferences, you can tell us. But tonight we'll have to finish the pairing and communicate to you. Any ideas on that?
Any requirements from your end that I want to pair with somebody from this or something, whatever, any choices?
The response that I got from you all was hardly about 7-8 people have responded. Okay, so we will just put the names and send it across to you tonight, and then you can, and I'll also let you know their telephone number and the email ID so that you will be able to interact with them. Okay.
So any questions from what we went through today?
Can I ask Madam Shahina to pair with me? Ma'am, I am Dr. Manmeet.
Hi, Manmeet, ma'am. It would be an honor.
Yeah, same here, ma'am. Mutual. So, ma'am, let's get in touch.
Of course, definitely, ma'am.
Yeah, I hope you can trace my number from the group.
I'll
post it there. I'll post it there.
Yeah, you can post it. I'll also post it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so
sir, I have a question. To reiterate the understanding of subsystem, system, and supersystem, can we say that subsystems are down the line from the system, and supersystems are above the line of environment of this system?
Kind of, yes. Subsystems are things that make this system. Supersystem is what the system is interacting with, which you rightly mentioned, environment. Everything around. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, what's the purpose of making this interaction matrix? Does it serve any purpose in design thinking?
So this is serving the purpose of formulating the problem statement. You will realize, you will see the full shape. It's like, when the goddess was made, the weapons were given. No, so we have given half the weapons. The rest yet to come.
Sir, while we find out subsystem, I mean, if we list subsystems and super systems, then we can understand what are interacting with the subsystem and super system. But why do we make an interaction matrix?
Why do you make? You will realize that in the next stage where we go, which is called function model, or rather saying analyzing the interaction.
Oh, okay.
Why we do that is you will find there will be a picture that you will be making, okay, and it will be very clumsy picture, a lot of arrows here and there. So people tend to make mistakes that how many arrows should be there and all. That time you come back to the interaction matrix and count the number of plus signs. The number of plus signs. So if you have 10 plus signs, that means you have to have at least 10 arrows. I'll explain all this tomorrow. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
Professor Rao.
Yeah.
Hello. So this is Deepikanta Chakravarti.
Yes.
So I'm just requesting you, if you ask anyone, because I don't know, people, here. So if you can ask anyone to bear with me, sir, it will be good for me.
No, we will do that. I think some of you are asking special, I want a marketing or HR. We will put you with some unrelated person. The whole design is interacting with somebody who is unrelated to you. So we'll do that.
Yes, sir. Another request for Shantan Mukherjee, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You showed us this one, this scale or matrix one. I tried to understand, sir, everything, but the thing is, I didn't understand the scale and matrix. I'll try to do my task. I'll try to complete it. I'll try, but I don't think that I'll be able to do that. So
no, you will be able to. You will be able to. Don't worry. I'll tell you once more. If required, I'll tell you once more. But you will be able to do it.
Yeah, you have used many examples and also I'll describe it from international relation perspective, so that super system and subsystem things from political and international relation perspective. I don't know how far I'll be able to go with this, but I'll try. But I didn't understand the metrics and the scale. So that's about
okay, ma'am, just 1 minute. Say I don't actually understand much about your subject, of course. But let's say I randomly take one. Okay, so let's say there is a political party. Okay, I don't know if it's the right example or not. There is a political party. That political party also will have some kind of hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
So everything that makes that political party one is that is a subsystem. Okay. Now that political party is interacting with other political parties. That political party is going into a election poll. That political party is probably what else? Probably in a different countries, politics they are involving. All this becomes the super system. Okay. Or if they are working on something infrastructure project.
I understood this part, sir, but how to put it in scale? The metrics you showed now, giving this ice cream, this one.
So you say, for example, now you are saying that I am imagining a few things. Okay, a political party has a leader. There is two second level leader, and there are few third level leaders, and there are some workers at the bottom. Okay, now these becomes your subsystem. So you have put all these people. Now, say for example, you are saying that infrastructure made by this political party is a super system. Okay, so who is actually making this infrastructure? The workers at the bottom level. The leader is not making. The leader is interacting with only the second level leader. The second level leader is only interacting with the third level leader. So your plus sign from the first level leader to the second level leader will be plus. With others, it will be minus everything.
Okay.
Now workers are interacting with the infrastructure, so that becomes a plus. The leader is not interacting with the infrastructure. That becomes a minus.
Infrastructure. He is with the second line leader, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
You go in depth of your subject and understand that who is interacting with whom. It's a very simple matrix. Don't confuse yourself much. Okay,
sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're most welcome. Professor Rao, you're on mute.
Yeah. It is sharp 5 o'clock. We will hold on the further discussions. We will continue tomorrow. And for all those people who are wondering why we have to make this matrix, it is going to be used tomorrow further in the discussion. So the next 3 days, whatever we are going to have, everything is very technical and everything is related to each other. So that is the reason why I said yesterday it is going to be unfolding one after the other. So thank you, Mr. Sayan. Hello. Thank you, Mr. Sayan.
If possible for you to
Professor Rao, I got one request to be made to you.
Yeah.
Sir, is it possible that can we explore 2 breaks? One break at the end of every 90 minutes, because continuously 2.5 hours is not going to be easy. How do we concentrate? How do we interact? What do we understand? And we all know that usually also in lecture we say 40-45 minutes, but okay, maybe now 90 minutes is I think after 9 minutes we can break could be of 10 minutes.
Okay, tomorrow we'll do that.
Please, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And all of you can mute your mics. We have Mrs. Vijaya Murthy on the meet now. Ma'am, Vijaya Murthy, madam. Vijaya, ma'am.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. Vijaya Murthy, madam, is from Art of Living. She is a very senior faculty member from the Art of Living. And she's going to be joined by Mrs. Meenakshi very soon. And both of them will take us through the Art of Living processes for the next 30 minutes. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. I'm just waiting for Meenakshi ji to join in.
She will come. I think you can conduct the session in the meanwhile.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. It's fantastic to be here with you all. And we are really, really happy to be here. I don't know how many of you are aware of the Art of Living. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Audible.
So, the Art of Living is one of the world's largest volunteer-based non-profit organizations. We have our presence in more than 150 countries. Our programs have impacted the lives of millions over the last 40 years. This is our 40th year, actually. We are into stress elimination and trauma relief workshops and service projects. We run free schools and we are into the river rejuvenation and a lot of other activities. For all of us, the previous year has been a challenging one on various counts, whether it be the physical level, the mental level, or the emotional level. There was economic recession, the pandemic, and then working from home had its own set of dynamics, relative isolation, rest of the family members also working from home, children studying from home. So yes, it has been a challenging year, hasn't it? So,
yes.
Actually, maybe while it was challenging, it was also a wonderful opportunity to relook at fundamentals of life. Shri Ravi Shankar ji, the founder of the Art of Living, says good health is not merely absence of disease. It seemed very apt, considering this is the Fit India initiative, to share this with you. Good health is not merely absence of disease at the physical level, but also quiver-free breath, stress-free mind, inhibition-free intellect, trauma-free memory, and an ego that is inclusive. Only this can lead to a sorrow-free self. So over the next 4 days, we will be conducting some short sessions where you will experience a few breathing exercises and a few meditations along with desktop yoga. Dr. Rao had shared that you're all busy all day at the desk. So we thought desktop yoga, which you can do sitting in your chairs, would be of use to you. All these small things, when incorporated in your day-to-day living, it can be impactful. Okay.
Madam, Meenakshi ji is also in. Welcome, Meenakshi ji.
Lovely. So we'll take a brief look at the power of the breath, the connection between the breath and the mind, tendencies of the mind, and different sources of energy, because all of us need energy, and we'll look at how we can tap it. Okay. To begin with, we'll start with desktop yoga. One request is, it will be nice if you can switch on your videos. I know you've been looking at your screens all day and there would be that fatigue. but it'll help us to help you better. We hope even if you don't switch on your videos, you participate to the fullest and get the maximum benefit out of whatever we'll be doing. Is that good? Thank you, Meenakshi ji. So what we'll do, we will follow whatever is being shown in the video. Let's sit comfortably, hands on the knees. Palms can be facing the ceiling or facing downwards. That's up to you. Sit comfortably, spine erect, head straight. Smile is absolutely mandatory. Okay. Yeah. So Meenakshi ji, if you can play it. Let's start with the neck. As you go up, breathe in. As you come down, breathe out. Look up. And bend forward. Once again, as you breathe in, the head goes back, up and back, and forward. Now, as you breathe in to the center, then as you breathe into the right, out, center. Breathe in left, breathe out, center. If you notice, we're doing each stretch 3 times. Breathe in, center, breathe out, center. Bend your head to the right side. Feel the stretch along the left. Now bend your left to the left, to your head to the left, and try to touch your shoulder with your ear. Don't raise the shoulder. The head should go down. To the right, center, to the left, center, again to the right, center, to your left, center. The thumb rule in yoga is upward movement you breathe in, downward movement you breathe out. Awareness on the breath is essential. Now we will do circular movements. As you breathe out, bend forward. Now, as you breathe in to the right and up, as you breathe out to the left and down. The opposite direction. Continue to rotate your neck. The movement should be controlled. The neck muscles tend to be very delicate. Now, as you breathe in, raise your shoulders. As you breathe out, bring them down. Breathe in and out. In and out. Circular movement of the shoulders. You see, when you're sitting for a long time, stress tends to accumulate along the spine, shoulders, and neck. So doing these simple stretches would make a lot of difference. Now stretch your hands, loose fists, and open. Fists, open, fists, open. Up and down, up and down. Flap the Palms up and down, in and out. Now make loose fists and circular movements of the wrists. You all would have been at your laptops or desktops. So a little bit of wrist movement to strengthen it. Now yet another variation of shoulder rotation. Each one we're doing it thrice. An upward movement, breathe in, downward movement, breathe out. Relax. Now raise your right leg. Observe the toes. You close and open the toes. Doing that really improves the circulation in the body. Now circular movement of the ankle. In both directions. Now hold your leg and keeping the knee as the pivot. Swing your leg. Now we'll do the same with the left leg. First we'll flex the toes. Circular movement of the ankle, clockwise and anti-clockwise. Now the knee, kick forward and back, and circular movement there again. Now relax. This really helps strengthen the spine. Your right hand goes behind you as much as possible, and the left hand will hold the right arm of your chair. Look over your right shoulder. Now do the same on the other side and take 2-3 breaths. Now your right arm is on your left chair arm and the other hand, left hand goes behind you. Once you've done that, both sides, now relax. Move forward in your chair. Keep the spine erect. People who have hypertension can avoid it. The others can just stretch their hands back and bend forward. It gives the spine a good stretch. When you're bending your spine along with the hands. Perfect. Now, let's sit with our eyes closed. Meenakshi ji, over to you.
Relax.
Thank you very much, madam. It's a nice break.
Observe your breath. Very gently, you may open your eyes. So how are you all feeling? Good, I hope. There's a connection between the breath and the emotions. Have you noticed how you breathe when you're happy? It's light breathing, right? And how do you breathe when you're sad? So you tend to exhale more. And how do you breathe when you're angry? Some people don't even breathe. When you're angry, your breath is fast. There's a connection between the breath and the emotions. With the help of the breath, you can manage emotions better and the mind better. You know, on an average, an individual, he consumes around 3 pounds, 2 to 3 pounds of food, say around 2.5 liters of water, and he breathes in close to 10,000 liters of air every day. Most of the nutrition comes through air. This affects our breath and our endocrine system, our brain and our endocrine system, and 90% of the toxins are eliminated through breath. So breathing and breathing patterns, they play a very important role. They affect our observation, our perception, and our expression. So generally in our Art of Living's online meditation breath programs, we teach a few of these breathing techniques. And one such powerful breathing technique is a Sudarshan Kriya. Would you like to get a taste of one of the breathing techniques that we do in our program?
Yes, sure, ma'am.
Can I, we will do the, I will just guide you through the, it is called the Nadi Shodhan Pranayam. So what we do here is, we keep the left hand, the thumb and the index finger are lightly joined together. Yeah. And then it is put on your left thigh with the palms facing up. Yeah. So we have placed the left hand. Now let's come to the right hand. The right hand, the index finger and the middle finger are in between the brows, lightly touching the brows, in between the eyebrows. Yeah. And the thumb and the ring finger would be over the nostrils. So we would be regulating the breath. We would be regulating the nostrils. In this, it is good to do pranayamas keeping our eyes closed. So what we will do, I will be guiding you through this. You can keep your eyes closed and just follow the instructions. Through your left nostril, you would be inhaling and keeping your right nostril closed. Take a nice long breath in. Then close the left nostril and exhale through the right nostril. We inhale through the right nostril. Close the right nostril with the thumb and exhale through the left nostril, releasing the ring finger. Again, inhale through the left nostril. Close the left nostril. Release the right nostril. Exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. Close the right nostril and release the left nostril. And exhale completely. Again, we will do a few rounds of this. Let's inhale through the left nostril. Close the left nostril and release the right nostril and exhale from the right nostril. Inhale from the right nostril. Close it with the thumb. Release the left nostril. Exhale out completely. Again, inhale from the left nostril. Close the left nostril, release the right nostril. Exhale. Inhale from the right nostril. Close the right nostril. Exhale from the left nostril. So one from the left to the right to the left is one round. Let's do do 5 more rounds all by ourselves. All the while, the middle finger and the index finger are gently pressing on the eye place in between the eyebrows. Five rounds all by ourselves. Relax as you complete the round. Putting both the hands, opening the left hand too, or put them on your thighs. Palms open to the ceiling. Watch your breath. And very gently, you may open your eyes. Yeah. So what this pranayama does is, it helps in releasing, in relaxing a person, especially one is feeling panic or feeling unduly anxious. Doing this pranayama, say for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, would help tremendously. There's a very beautiful link, between the body, the mind, and the breath. So we will be talking more about the breath and the mind and that connection and how we can put things in perspective, increase our, improve the quality of our living tomorrow. Yeah. Vijayaji, would you like to add something?
Over to you, Bhaskar Raj. Dr. Rao, over to you. Thank you. If anyone has any questions, we can take them now. Otherwise,
I think there's a couple of questions. Maybe you can take a couple of questions, ma'am.
Sure. Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you so much. That's very relaxing. I just want small input. Maybe today or tomorrow, you all can add on more. How to increase emotional strongness in a person? Like I am around 39 years old, but still at stressful situations, I feel like crying. Wherein I need to control myself, I feel like crying, and I cry also. And I have a small 5-year-old baby. Still, I feel I don't have that strong emotional strongness in myself. How do I improve on that? Thank you.
Meenakshi, are you taking this?
Yes. I think attending to your breath will help you tremendously. We will be talking about this tomorrow, in fact.
Okay.
So
okay,
you will get your,
solution
questions answered. Meanwhile, it's good to practice this pranayama. We do
the one that you have done.
Yeah. So yes, it can be managed. It does happen, and it's manageable. We'll tell you. We'll be talking about it tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. Please, I have no problem, but I want a small 5-10 minutes discussion on this, please, ma'am. Because I feel as an adult, as a mother, also I need to be more strong, but I lack on this, at least this one, and so I just need some advice on the same. Thank you.
It's not lacking anything, but
Okay.
that's definitely breathing helps gain inner strength, and the process that you breathing process you just learned, alternate
Yeah.
nostril breathing, this itself can help tremendously. A more detailed discussion, maybe we wouldn't want to cut it your tea time. Tomorrow we will definitely discuss this in greater detail.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Ma'am, on the same note, something for anger management.
Yes, Shahima.
Yes,
Shahima, ma'am. Shahima, ma'am, something for anger management, any breathing techniques, anything specific for anger management? I really have anger issues.
Shahima ji, first, I really want to tell you, I appreciate the enthusiasm with which your kid participated. It was lovely.
That's my son. Abu, come here. Say hi. And he's very much into. He attends all my conferences. I think Dr. Rao would also remember last year we were there at the University of Hyderabad. He was also a participant there.
He's a total value add. Thank you so much, Abu.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Mr. Vidyasagar, you wanted to ask something? Last question from Mr. Vidyasagar.
So anger management also, Nadi Shodhan Pranayama.
Yes. Good evening.
So that,
Yes.
Next question.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Vidyasagar, Pune, from Pune. Yeah. This is my personal issue, ma'am, because I have got easy angry with and tussling with my family members, like my spouse, etc., my wife also. A little bit thing, not very big matter, but small matter, simple matter, and it is frequently happening. How to manage this type of issue?
Meenakshi ji, can I take this? Yoga, pranayama, meditation, they help tremendously. Like I just told a while ago, Sudarshan Kriya is of great help. So is meditation. Tomorrow we will experience a meditation, and then you can relate to what I'm saying better.
Okay. So that's very nice of you, ma'am. I think Vijayaji and Meenakshi ji, thank you so much. It's been very wonderful experience. So we will again catch up at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And I'm sure tomorrow you'll have more to share, because everybody has expressed, many of them have expressed what they need. It will be more customized.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Right? Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow again.
See.
Thank you, Meenakshi ji.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have a 15-minute break, and after this you will have a feast for the next 1 hour and 45 minutes by Professor Pradeep Kumar. If you have not heard of him before, you will be really amazed. He is an excellent speaker on this topic of universal human values, and that has a direct connectivity with what we are talking of in the design thinking. There are so many other topics we could have chosen for this session, like stress management and communications and this and that. But I have designed this with a clear purpose. And at the end of the fifth day, I'm sure all of you, it has to come back to me from you saying that, yes, this is what happened to us. And then I will know whether this design is right or whether I've succeeded or not. So just relax for 15 more minutes, and at 5:45 we will start the session of Professor Pradeep Kumar, and you will really enjoy it.
Sure, sir. Sir, do we need to log in, or we need to log out and again log in for the session?
It's entirely left to you. You can continue to be there on this, the login, and again join 15 minutes from now. Or you can log out and again come in, as you wish.
Okay, great, sir. Okay. I'll log in. I'll keep logging in, sir. Thank you.
Right.